time, please rise and remove your hats as the Travis Air Force Base Honor Guard and the North Bay Company Sacramento Army Recruiting Battalion present our nation's colors. And may I have your attention, please? Yesterday, we lost a friend with a long legacy of competition at this track, two-time NHRA national champion Scott Coletta, who perished in an accident at Englishtown, New Jersey. Please join us in a moment of silence as we remember Scott Coletta. Remain standing as Infineon Raceway track minister Tim Boovey delivers today's invocation.
Let us pray. Gracious God, we seek your blessing on this race and pray for the safety of our drivers. May each one and their teams perform superbly. We pray for all those in need of your healing grace today. Strengthen, comfort, and encourage them. And for the wonderful gift of life and its enhancement through events like this thrilling competition, we give you thanks. Amen.
Please welcome from our New Line Cinema 2006 hit Hairspray, Nikki Blonsky, as she performs our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free? In the home of the brave.
20th consecutive visit by the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series to Sonoma here at Infineon Raceway. The track celebrating its 40th anniversary. Tony Stewart and company getting ready to go. We'll have the command when we come back on TNT. It is a beautiful day here in Sonoma, California. 102 on Friday, about 99 on Saturday. Today, 86 degrees for the Toyota Save Mart 350 for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Let's get some stories from pit road. Here's Marty Snyder.
Well, Bill, nobody has had more road course success than Jeff Gordon with 9 career wins, more than anybody. They have an excellent car for this race today. But Steve Letarte told me this morning, we have such a good car, we may be reluctant to play the fuel mileage game. They would like to win this race, not doing it. And Jeff Gordon told me moments ago, I think we have a car that can win this race on pure speed. Ralph?
Marty, I just spoke to Jamie McMurray seconds ago, and he told me my fuel mileage is definitely better than it was last year, which should certainly help me make up for losing this race last year. The one thing, however, that he's concerned about is the handling of the car. He said the track's so much cooler than when they last practiced. He's not so sure the setup is right. Matt?
Ralph, Casey Kane's now looking for the payoff. P1 his third road course pole on Friday. He's hoping to net his third road course victory later this afternoon. He's put so much emphasis on this type of discipline. His instructor, his professor, Boris said, they spent a lot of time at Virginia International Raceway in a two-seater, letting Boris critique Casey's style. It's paying off. In fact, he's already had more top 10 finishes this year. This team is on such a roll, and they've got the best pit stall, they believe, on pit road. Stall 23. No GPS needed. It's right before the King that heads further down toward turn 1. Now to Lindsay Zarniak.
Thank you, Matt. Everybody in the garage seems to know that Kevin Harvick is a guy to watch out for this weekend. Kevin himself says he's very confident in what he calls a very fast race car. They will be borrowing a page from last year's plan, which was riding fuel mileage to a second place finish. Kevin Harvick today will have to start 32nd, so the big question is, how fast can he get up front? Bill?
Thanks, Lindsay. Hope you guys have a good day down there on pit road.
Where are you going to be at? What pit you?
There you see the cars parked along pit road here at Infineon Raceway. 5 of the 19 races here have been won from the pole. 7 of the 19 have been won from the front row. 12 of the 19 from a top 5 starting position. It really helps to start up front here, but it's much better off if you run up front. See how the wacky strategy plays out. Marcus Ambrose qualified 7th, Max Pappas 28th. They will make their first career Sprint Cup starts here this afternoon. Glad you're with us. We're going to take you trackside now and get the command for this afternoon's Toyota Save Mart 350.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Please welcome from the Food Network, Guy Fieri. And for the Northern California Toyota Dealer Association, Dave Buller.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
Well, I guess it's time to get cooking. Guy Fieri, the Grand Marshal for this afternoon's race. Engines fire, green flag coming up on TNT.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Toyota Save Mart 350. Toyota and the San Francisco area dealers are proud to present NASCAR's only major event here in Northern California. At this time, we would like to acknowledge the families that are currently experiencing the devastating flooding that is going on in the Midwest. We would also like to send our sincere condolences to the family of Scott Coletta, who lost his life yesterday doing what he loved to do best. Our thoughts and prayers go out to all of you. On behalf of the entire Toyota family, we hope you enjoy a great afternoon of racing.
TNT Sports presents the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Today it's the Toyota Save Mart 350 from Infineon Raceway in Sonoma, California. It is a beautiful day. Some smoke from those fires we talked about. Right now 83 degrees, track temperature 129. But it's a nice, comfortable day compared to what we've had here to start the weekend. Hi, everybody. Bill Weber along with Wally Dallenbach and Kyle Petty. Thanks so much for having us in for the race. I want to go back to something you talked about in the countdown to green. 34 races on basically an oval, throw in Pocono as a triangle, but 2 on a road course. You can race anywhere and be good, but if you come in here to this series as a road course ringer, it's awfully difficult to be successful.
It really is, because this place is tough. I mean, this is a different animal. Places like Pocono, Michigan, the last couple of weeks, you've got a little bit of time to rest. You have to concentrate so hard to get around this place. You have to hit your marks. you have to downshift and brake just right. And you got all these other cars around you. So, you know, the road course ringers that are here, it's tough for them to come in and beat the best in the business, because the Nextel Cup drivers right now, they're really good on a road course. And you know, the cars, the way they are now, they're better. We got better brakes, we got better trannies, and this place was really slick earlier in the week. I think the lower temperatures are going to help everybody, not only grip, but the temperatures inside the cars is going to be big today.
Drivers race going forwards. Crew chiefs race here going backwards.
Yeah, you take the race, and basically you start at the back and you go forward. I got one word for you people out there: strategery. Okay, that's not a word, okay? But strategy is going to be the word of the day. You're going to take the laps, the amount of laps in the race, and you're going to come backwards. That's what we saw last year with fuel mileage. That's what we saw with Juan Montoya. I've been in more trucks this week watching guys watch that race from last year and watch how Donnie Wingo and Juan Montoya did. Watch how some of the other cars. There's one guy out there that's going to throw strategery out the window. That's the 7 car of Robbie Gordon. He's going to go all out every lap. But there's going to be a lot of people that place at the end of this day because of strategy.
That's the only way Robbie knows to drive, though.
That's exactly right.
All right, going to be a lot of fun this afternoon here at Sonoma. Let's take a look at the starting grid for this afternoon's race, presented by Miller Lite. On the Coors Light pole is the Budweiser Dodge of Casey Kane. 5 of his 9 career wins have come from the pole, including Pocono a couple of weeks ago. 12th time this season, Jimmy Johnson has started in the top 10. Kurt Busch grabbed the 3rd spot in the Miller Lite Dodge, next to Bobby Labonte. Mr. Sonoma, Jeff Gordon, starts in the 5th spot next to Elliott Sadler. Marcus Ambrose makes his Sprint Cup debut from the 7th position. Robbie Gordon has just one top 15 finish here in the last 5 races, but that was a win in 2003. Ryan Newman was 2nd here 2 years ago. Greg Biffle has back-to-back top 5 finishes on this track. Outstanding qualifying run for Terry Labonte. Terry finished 3rd in this race 2 years ago. Take a look at the rest of the grid. Wally, going to try and jump on the radio? Is this a good time to get it, Bobby?
Yeah, let's see if we can get a hold of Bobby Labonte. Hey, Bobby, this is Wally up in the booth. Do you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear.
Bobby, well, you got a great qualifying spot, but I watched you guys in final practice yesterday, and your car looked like it was pretty good. You got a good race car. Are you going to try to stay up front, or are you guys going to try to do the strategy thing today?
Well, we'd like to play a little bit of both of them. We're not quite. We had to, work on the engine to get it to go the distance for the 2-stop strategy. So we'll see what we got here for that, if it plays out right. But hopefully we can. I'm not a veteran road racer. I'm just kind of a guy that runs a road course every now and then. So hopefully we can stay up here out of trouble. And some of these guys, I'm sure, will be faster than us for a while. But we've got to hang around to the end of the race.
I got to disagree with you on that one. You're a pretty good road racer. Good luck today.
Thanks.
Bobby Labonte in that 43 car starts 4th this afternoon in the Toyota Save Mart 350. Take you back through the rest of the starting grid. You see back in row 19, Tony Stewart. Talked to him in the Allstate Countdown to Green. Has a long way to go in this race. Travis Kvapil is back there. AJ Allmendinger. Brian Simo. David Rudiman. Rudiman in a backup car after a crash here earlier in the week. And Michael Waltrip starting at the back of the field in that 55 car. Let's check in with Larry McReynolds.
Well, Bill, you heard Kyle talk about strategy. You heard Bobby Labonte talk about strategy. And as a crew chief for this 110-lap race, you formulate that strategy well before you even get out here. But you have to be able to adjust that strategy, especially if you qualify at the back of the field, just like Donnie Wingo, Juan Pablo Montoya did last year when they qualified 32nd. You have to be willing to call an audible. And I think Matt Yoakum is with a crew chief that has won this race twice. He's in that same box that Donnie Wingo was in a year ago.
Greg Zipadelli's 20 car with Tony Stewart behind the wheel rolls off 39th. So Zippy all week long, everyone has mapped out their strategy. But now that you're starting so deep in the field, have you had to call a slight audible?
We've got a couple options, I think, that hopefully one of them will work. It's kind of just going to depend on when cautions fall. I mean, obviously everybody's going to try and do it in 2 segments. We're going to probably look at maybe trying to keep fresh tires on it till the end and switching it up, maybe putting ourselves in a little bit different position. It's going to be awful hard to pass, 38 race cars as tight and as hard as this place is to pass on. But I think we certainly have the driver to do it. I hopefully gave him the car today to do it, and we'll keep our fingers crossed. Hopefully we'll get this Home Depot Toyota up front where it belongs. Qualifying effort certainly did change a lot of things from what we thought and what we were kind of predicting coming into this event today. So we got a beautiful day, and we'll keep our fingers crossed. Hopefully we can make something good of it.
And they brought the car that they last scored their last Sprint Cup victory, which was at Watkins Glen last August.
All right, Matt, thanks a lot. Take a look at our race analysis for this afternoon. $5.5 million on the line, 110 laps. Pit road speed is 35 miles per hour. Pace car will be at 40 miles per hour. And here is the critical thing. Pit window, 35 to 40 green flag laps. And if you're going to win here, you better be a lot closer to 40 than 35.
Yeah, a lot closer to 40. And I think Bobby mentioned it when he was talking to Wally. We've worked on our carburetor. We've worked on trying to get fuel mileage. I know there's a couple of teams down here who worked so much on the jetting of the carburetor, which means fuel flow, to get the thing from 3.6 to about 4.6 per gallon. Now, when you get to a certain point, you start running out of fuel on the other end, and you've got no power. So you can't get too slow when you start tuning on that thing.
And you could hear Greg Zipadelli, the concern in his voice, because these crew chiefs, I don't want to say they're scared to death, but they're really nervous because they've got a plan, and you've got to stick to it.
And things have to just work out perfect. I mean, where Tony Stewart is sitting right now, you know, it seems like that's where you're going to find the mess. If there's going to be an accident, it's going to be back around there. It is hard to pass cars. And you know, track position is really, really important. When you come to a road course, qualifying is really, really important because you just want to be able to hang up front and be in the top 10. And when you're back there, you're just looking for trouble.
And right through here, as we watch the cars come up to the top of the hill, this is where they all stop. You know, you get a good run. This isn't like Martinsville where you get that run and then you slam on brakes. And we know what can happen at a short track like Martinsville. When you get to the top of the hill, man, you'll see guys everywhere.
Yeah, you're almost better off just laying back.
Just
letting those guys go up the hill. In Tony's situation, because they're going to get on a different strategy, just let them go and let them get at least through the first two corners, because you're right, Kyle. That is the spot where it's going to happen if it happens in the first couple laps.
The start here is always dramatic at Infineon Raceway. Let's take a look at our AT&T Race Talk poll question. Which of these road course specialists will do the best today? Put up the names for you. You can text the word race to 191 on your AT&T wireless phone, and you can vote. Now, would you guys like to vote?
Well, you know, it's tough because of what Kyle said on the opening is everybody's going to play different strategies. I could say, well, I think there's going to be one or two guys that are going to be really, really fast out of this bunch. But as far as who is going to be the best, that's really going to depend on what the team does today, strategy-wise.
Yep.
Or what was the word?
Strategery, baby.
Strategery. I got to remember that.
Whoever, just because the guy finishes ahead of the rest of that group doesn't mean he had the best day. I mean, we've seen guys lead races all the way to the last 10 laps, and you think they had a great day until the last 10 laps. And the same thing can happen here.
Yeah, Robbie Gordon last year.
Exactly.
He had a really good car, and it really wasn't a good day for him at the end of the day.
Juan Pablo Montoya stopped for the final time on lap 68 last year, and the race was green for the last 42 laps. Somehow they made the fuel last, and Juan got his first win in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Track is 1.99 miles. We'll call it 2 miles today. It's roughly about 12 turns, depending on what driver is counting and what driver remembers what turn he's in.
I never know what any of these corners are. It's over yonder and down over here, and that's where they're at.
And this is the first time you haven't been racing here in a long time.
Yeah, I broke my leg in '91.
Right.
I set out that race, and this is the first time since '91. You know, I was fortunate you guys, Turner and TNT, let me drive last year. That didn't work out the way I wanted it to, but they let me drive out here because I truly enjoy running the road courses. I like the Grand American Division, but I like the road courses.
Some of the onboard cameras, huh?
That's a great shot off the 45 car. Terry Labonte. Yeah, we're going to see how long. We want to show this early because we don't think it's going to last very long.
No, that's Terry. It'll last. It'll last.
But it gets dirty and rocks, and I'm not saying he's going to hit anything, but.
Well, a minute through the pace laps, getting close to the green flag here. Pace truck moves off the track, and we're racing at Sonoma.
Courtesy right there.
Not a give and take. That was good.
About one more lap of that, right?
That was that. That was courtesy right there. It's over with.
It's Casey Kane out front, then Jimmy Johnson, Kurt Busch, Bobby Labonte. That's Marcus Ambrose in the 21 making his Sprint Cup debut. Driving for the Wood brothers. Ryan Newman right behind him in the 12. All right, you ready to go for a ride?
There's that cool shot on the 45 car. Terry Labonte down through the S's. This is really important. This next corner right here, this is where you want to set a guy up for the next corner out braking him. You want to be right on somebody's rear bumper so you can try to make that move to outbrake somebody. So that's a really, really important corner on this racetrack.
Go ahead.
Last year, this is where I was, I wrecked right there.
Right.
Okay, I just want to be real clear. At the end of the first lap, right there, just to get it out of the way, because I know you guys are going to bust on me. So that was it, okay?
I was going to say, what about the second lap, Kyle? But,
that was good, guys.
Okay, we've completed one lap, and crew chiefs are already on the radio. Save fuel, right?
They start. I'm going to tell you what. They just about started when they fired them up on pit road. How many times, Wally, did you used to fire a car up, get the temperature to come up off the peg, and then shut it off?
Yeah.
So you wouldn't use any fuel. And this is a 2-mile racetrack. So riding around on those warm-up laps, they were going to get plenty of heat in the engine.
First time Kasey Kahne has led on a road course. There's Juan Pablo Montoya in the 42 looking at Dave Blaney.
And Jimmy Johnson did a smart thing. You know what? On the start, Kasey got a little bit of a jump, and I think he laid back just so he could get in there in a turn 1 and 2 without running side by side through there.
And that's important for those first two guys. If the first two guys or the first 2 or 3 rows get through that top corner, then the other guys, it creates a flow. But, you know, if everybody runs up there and it's just like you give, I give, you get, and nobody gives, then it gets boxed up.
Now they're heading for turn 11 here, Kyle, okay?
Yeah, thanks for and you know, this was, here they are in turn 11, you know, and look how much.
Bobby around.
Boy, that's going to cost him a lot of spots.
Their race strategy will change from that. You know, we talk about it all the time, and I know the fans out there are going to get tired of hearing strategy, but this totally changes these guys' race because they had hoped they could stay up front and pit accordingly.
I don't think anybody got into him. He just jumped on the throttle and broke loose on him.
But, you know, they struggled a little bit with forward bite, and they said they had struggled a little bit, and you could see as he come up, as he throttled up, he kind of, the rear steps out, and it gets away from him.
Qualified in the 4th spot.
That was a little give and take there. You saw Jeff kind of check up to let the 7 car go through, but at the same time, he slows up enough that now the 12 car has the preferred line, but Jeff takes it back. That's the funny part about road racing. You can have the preferred line going in the one corner, but if you don't make the pass through that corner, somebody else has got it in the next corner.
Bobby Labonte qualified 4th, crossed the start-finish line to begin this lap in 30th after that spin. This is on board Robbie Gordon.
Yeah, the 2 car. Oh, okay. The Kurt Busch locked his right front up. He hit the tires. That jammed everything up. But that really didn't have anything to do with Bobby. I think Bobby just jumped on the throttle. There was no grip there, and it got away from him.
Hey, I think Bobby, like you say, I think what happened was they jammed up. Bobby thinks somebody's going to get a run on him, so he throttles up real quick, and boom, he's around.
Who did you say was going to come charging through the field no matter what the strategy was?
RG.
Yes.
Up to 4th. Moving forward from the 8th starting spot. Let's check with Matt Yoakum.
And Bill, a concern for pole sitter Kasey Kahne. He radioed his team something amiss with a clutch. Now his team is prepared to push this car. Now remember, when they're shifting, they don't use the clutch out on the racetrack, really only when they're leaving their pit stall. But his team is prepared to push the car, but NASCAR's new rules this year, you're only allowed to push the car the length of 3 pit stalls. So where they are, they would be pushing around the bend. Right now, they're not sure how severe the problem is, but they are prepared.
Thanks, Matt. Let's see if we can't eavesdrop on Kasey Kahne from just a few moments ago.
I think the only time I'll need it is in the pit. Okay, well, I'll just pit, I'll put it in neutral, and then when you drop the jack, you just start pushing me, and then I try to, like, I'll hold the clutch and push it into first at the same time and just try to hope it just takes off, right?
Yeah, and you'd want to give it just a little bit of throttle, not much, when you're doing that.
3 pit stalls isn't much to push these heavy cars to try to get something jump started, and that's going to be tough, Larry, if we're having problems there.
Well, Wally, what's going to make it tough is, you know, all the oval tracks, NASCAR pretty much monitors a lot of the ratios in the transmissions, but they've got these ratios in these transmissions here very kind of a high first gear because you run turn 11 in first gear, and I think that's going to magnify trying to get this thing going without that clutch.
And what you mean is just like if somebody at home was taken out of their driveway in fourth gear instead of first gear.
Exactly, yeah, because you've got ratios for what you need out on different places on the racetrack, where at most of the ovals, it's all about getting out of the pits and what you need on restarts.
4 races here for Kasey Kahne, 23rd, 31st, 41st, and 31st, his finishing positions. Now, we are getting a report from some spotters around the track that Robbie Gordon may be dragging something. Let's check the lead first. This is Jimmie Johnson inside of Kasey Kahne.
Yeah, Kasey Kahne didn't fight that too much. I think he saw the 48 was going to come down and make a move on him and didn't really fight that position too hard.
That's 5 bonus points for Jimmie Johnson right there. Marty, you got the 7 today?
I do, Weber. Have not heard anything about them dragging something on the racetrack. I did talk to Robbie right before the race started. He told me, quote, "We're scary good." That's how fast this car. And Kyle, you hit it right on the head. You kind of have to go with whatever strategy works best for you. Robbie and his team, they're going to try to do it on speed. That's what's going to win them the race. Many other teams down here, though, will try to make it a 2-stop race at 30 and lap 70, pitting them. But Robbie's just going to go for the speed. He said if the fuel mileage bites us, oh well, I can't do it that way.
Imagine that. Jimmie Johnson, the new race leader here in Sonoma, followed by Kasey Kahne, Kurt Busch, Robbie Gordon, and Ryan Newman. This is NASCAR on TNT. Jimmie Johnson is the race leader, but these guys right here fighting it out for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. That's Kurt Busch in the 2. Kasey Kahne in the 9, Robbie Gordon in the 7.
Yeah, Kurt Busch made a nice pass on the 9 car, but I'll tell you what, Kyle, I noticed on the 2 car, he's been locking that right front tire up almost every single time he goes into a hard braking zone.
And it's hard to tell, like you say, he's locking it up. Is he locking it up because he's overdriving because he's looking in the mirror at that 7 car? I know when the 7 car's behind me, I'll overdrive a corner sometimes. The 9 car was holding that pack up a little bit. You know, the 48 has gotten away from him as we were at commercial. You see both these, the 2 and the 7, as they outbreak here, they both lock the right front.
Robbie was going, wasn't he?
Robbie was going to make it happen in that corner. It didn't quite work for him, but it did when he got down to the final corner here. And once again, I don't know the number on this corner.
We'll help you with that. Just want to update Tony Stewart started 37th up to 28th with 8 laps complete. There's Race Buddy. Go to TNT.com and enhance your viewing experience for our TNT races. And you can also send a question to Kyle and Wally up here in the booths. So Eric from Atwater, Ohio wants to know what changes do teams have to make with their spotters on a road course compared to an oval. Some damage on that.
Yeah, right behind the left rear tire on Tony Stewart. Somebody got into him. Not that I think that's going to make any difference on the way the car handles, but did make contact with somebody.
And we talked about this briefly in our meeting this morning about the spotters here on road
spotters.
courses.
Most guys, they use one spotter at the top. You see this building right here to the left. A lot of teams will use a spotter on this building because if you're pitting around the curve, and we'll see it as we go, as the front stretch comes around here, you see pit road to your left of the screen. It goes up, and then the pit road turns left. Guys that are on pit road there can't see, so the spotters will be on the building. Some of the spotters are at the top of the hill. Most spotters here are unlike other places. You use a spotter here to tell you when the track's blocked, when somebody's run off the racetrack, not whether you're clear or whether you're not clear. Like you hear, and you're used to hearing at other racetracks, you hear that some, but it's not as important here to know that you're clear. You should know that. You just want to know when you top one of these blind corners whether the racetrack's blocked or not.
Juan Montoya from 21st to 12th. Kyle Busch from 30th to 20th.
And 21st to 12th for Montoya, that's pretty impressive because those are your best qualifying cars, okay? It's not like he had a terrible qualifying run as we see.
Oh, Ambrose ducks it underneath the 12 car. Newman, is he gonna? He's got to stay there. If he can stay there, the next corner's his. Yeah.
Yeah, that was big right there. That was nice.
He's having a huge weekend, isn't he?
He is, and now he's adapted this. Obviously, he's a road course. He understands that, but he adapted to these heavier cars really well.
Larry, what are you working on?
Well, I've been watching this 21 car Bill with Marcus Ambrose, of course, making his Sprint Cup Series debut here. And I think one reason there's a huge relief about the way he's running right now, remember at the tail end of final practice yesterday, this car slapped the wall over in turn 10. I talked to his crew chief, Mike Smith, this morning. I said, Mike, what do you think? He said, we think it was just cosmetic, but you know what? We're really not going to know until they drop the green flag. So I'm sure there's some relief that this car is maintaining in the top 10.
I like what he said. He didn't spin out. He just ran out of asphalt.
Ran out of talent.
There's Casey Kane running back there, all chasing Jimmy Johnson. He's the leader here at Sonoma in the Toyota Save Mart 350 on TNT. The TNT race family in Sonoma, California for the Toyota Save Mart 350. Jimmy Johnson came into this race having led only 7 laps on a road course in 12 starts. He has already led 8 so far today. Let's check out our AT&T Race Talk poll and see what how the voting's going here. Boris said.
The said heads have spoken?
Yes.
Yes, they have. That's impressive.
Not a bad pick. See how it all plays out with these road course specialists. Jeff Burton is going to have new colors on that car next year, huh?
You know, I think the whole children's group is going to look, you know, but obviously they have Cheerios, they have Cat. There's still cars out here, but the children's organization will have a different look.
What are you looking at, Kyle Busch there?
Mm-hmm. Looking at the setup, and he was right there to be able to make that move. It's right on his tail going through turn 10, and that's how you do it.
Lindsay.
Bill, Kyle Busch came on the radio just a couple minutes ago, and he said the motor bogged down a bit. Other than that, he feels like the car is coming to him. I mean, the one thing that he said is they've got a little less side bite, he'd like a little bit more. When I talked to him right before the race, he told me this car is nowhere where I need it to be, but they did make those changes that we talked about yesterday in final practice, so he's thinking that the car is going to get a little bit better as he continues to get more laps.
Why are you whispering?
Do I sound like I'm whispering?
You sound like you're whispering.
Because we're being very quiet down here in the pits. A lot of thinking going on.
I'll bet. Boy, there are a lot of nervous crew chiefs down there. See, they hope for that early caution, like 7 or 8. For the caution to go out on lap 7 or 8 so they can duck in and get some fuel.
But you know, we've seen it from the very beginning. There's a lot of give and take going on out there. You know, a lot of times at this point in time, you get guys that are already running into each other. Now, there's a side torn off of a couple of cars here that have been, but they've had to drive from the back to the front. But there's so much give and take that these guys aren't having the cautions. They're not running each other off course.
Not a lot of places to pass, but this is one of them.
This is the best place to do it right here. And like Kyle's saying, I'm surprised how everybody is really making it easy for each other when they go down there and try to make that pass.
I don't think anybody wants to cause a caution because I don't think anybody wants to mess up their crew chief strategy. You know what I mean? Because that does reset the race. This 9 car is struggling.
Yeah,
man.
Casey Kane's back to 12th spot right now, and he's been dropping like a rock here. He's got the 26th of McMurray looking to take that spot away.
And just a little deeper in the field, the car you were watching, Kyle Busch, the championship leader, 30th to 18th now, 14 laps in.
You know, we heard him comment on the clutch for the 9 car earlier, but the clutch is not the reason for these guys slipping like this at this point in time, unless it's torn out so much that he's slipping in high gear and he's not able to run high speed.
It looks to me like he's having a hard time getting off the corners. It doesn't look like he's got the bite that he's looking for, because every time he comes off the corner, he either gets a little bit sideways or he gets wheel spin, and that's where these guys are getting. What's he saying, Matt?
Well, his biggest complaint is the fact that the car just has such a push in the slow speed corners. That's where his biggest hindrance is. He said the higher speed stuff, the car is not bad, but that's where he's losing all this ground.
It's going the wrong way. Jimmy Johnson, the race leader. Then it's Kurt Busch, Robbie Gordon, Carl Edwards, Jeff Gordon, Marcus Ambrose running 6th in his first Sprint Cup race. Jimmy Johnson leads by about 5 seconds here in Sonoma over Kurt Busch. Then it's Robbie Gordon, Carl Edwards, and Jeff Gordon, the top 5. We can take you through the field. 18 laps of 110, working lap 18. Let's start with Marty Snyder.
Bill, we certainly can take you through the field. This is a nice Sunday drive, isn't it, for Jimmy Johnson here in his home state of California? You talk to this team, they're ready to win a road course race. Jimmy has 2 top 10s in his last 4 Infineon races, but there is not one word, I mean nothing, being spoken on the radio, obviously in cruise control right now for Jimmy Johnson. Ralph?
Well, things pretty quiet over here too, Marty. For Kurt Busch, things are going very well. The number 2 is very fast. The biggest problem is when it comes to stopping. He's been locking up the front end of the car. Now, he did adjust a brake bias, but one of the problems he's having, Marty, is that he's having to pump those brakes as well.
You need those brakes here at Infineon. Robbie Gordon having no issues with his car. This is the part of the run where he expects to be better than everybody else. We saw lap times fall off yesterday. Robbie said his car never really did that. His one comment, need a little more forward bite, wants a half pound out of both rear tires when they do stop, Lindsay.
Well, Marty, Carl Edwards is in the middle of a Gordon sandwich, you can say. He's gone from 12th to 4th already. His crew chief telling him, you know what, Carl, great job, just be very smooth. Right now, Carl going for the weekend sweep after winning the nationwide race last night in Milwaukee. He told me he got back here at 4:45 this morning, but right now, certainly not showing any signs of fatigue, Marty.
Lindsay, Jeff Gordon started 5th. Currently, he runs in the 5th position. They made 7 changes in practice yesterday, getting this car ready. 6 of them geared towards getting better fuel mileage. But then Steve Letarte told me this morning, how do I tell one of the best road course racers in the world we're going to try and win it on fuel mileage? We're going for it on speed today, Ralph.
Marcos Ambrose is quickly getting accustomed to NASCAR Sprint Cup racing, making his first start. Started the day in 7th. He's up to 6th. The only issue he's got right now is trying to get the car to get more bite up and off the corners. He jumps on that throttle. He's starting to get wheel spin, and that could be a real big problem here, Marty.
He went around Jeff Gordon, and Denny Hamlin is back there behind Jeff Gordon in the 7th position. I told him this morning, I said, your car's pretty good. He said, well, the driver's not bad either. Denny is excellent at road course racing, really an underrated road course racer. His worst finish in road course racing is 12th. And that came here in his rookie year. Car's very good, starting to get a little bit too loose for Denny Hamlin. Behind him, Ryan Newman also says he's very loose, especially in turn 2 and 4 and down through the S's. But Newman having a very nice showing right now. They were thinking about playing the fuel mileage game, but right now the car's fast enough to maybe win this thing.
Great battle between Juan Pablo Montoya and Greg Biffle. Montoya just took the position. His team had been telling him, stay smooth. A lot of these guys are now starting to wear their tires, overdriving it. He has said absolutely nothing on the radio. Meanwhile, back with a 16. Greg Biffle, he started 10th, and that's exactly where he runs. He said the biggest issue about today, you're going to have to be very smooth with your car. Finesse is going to be key in tire management, Larry Mack.
Yeah, I've been watching Jamie McMurray back there in that 26 car. He started back in 18th. Remember, he led a lot of this race last year, but their strategy did not work out. They had to pit late in the race for fuel, but definitely the road courses is part of his strong point.
And he had to do that last week too, didn't he, Larry?
Yes, he did. Thought he was going to win that race.
That's
there.
Right. Exactly right at Michigan. There's Jamie. There's Jimmy Johnson, and you can see him pulling away. Carl Edwards busted a move to pick up a position. 34 career Cup wins for JJ, none on a road course. Jimmy Johnson coming around to complete lap 22 in the Toyota Save Mart 350 here at Infineon Raceway in Sonoma. Leads by about 5 seconds over a new second place car. Carl Edwards climbs the hill in second. Kurt Busch is the one that has been giving up spots the last lap and a half or so.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier. See him locking up his right front. It just means that he's got way too much front brake in the car. Now, these drivers can change the brake bias, and he really needs to change it and put more brake to the rear, because when you start locking it up earlier in the run when he did, it's just going to get worse and worse. And he just lost 2 spots, mainly because he's locking that right front up. When you lock the right front up and you're trying to turn the same time, it doesn't work.
And he's getting passed in the same corner at the far end of the racetrack, in the same corner where you've got to. And it seems like for whatever reason, whether it's like you say, it's almost like it's got too much brake bias, or the thing is rolling over so much under braking, the pitch is changing from left to right, that it's like
It's making the right front light.
It's just
Right.
picking up the right front tire, and he can get no grip in it. If it's not on the ground, he's not going to get any grip. And what that's going to do is it's going to wear that tire until it's flat spotted, and then it vibrates the wheel out of his hand just about.
Jeff Gordon has lost 5 spots in the last 4 laps. Marty, he might be getting ready to lose a couple more.
Yeah, Elliott Sadler hawking him right there. And what would you do through the field like 5 minutes ago? Weber, he was in 5th then, as you mentioned, now in 10th. He said his tires are absolutely gone as Elliott Sadler goes inside him in turn 11. He'll lose another spot. And the worst part of it is his team can't really hear him on the radio. They say the mic is too far away from his mouth, but I think he's pretty busy inside the race car to be able to move the mic back towards his mouth a little bit, having a real hard time hearing what Jeff Gordon's saying in the car.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see when they can hear him if he's having some brake issues too, Marty. I mean, because it looks like he's not getting down into the corners as deep as some of these other guys, and that's where he's getting past a lot.
You know, there's so many different setups, and maybe Larry can speak to this better, but there's so many different setups in these cars. I've heard guys that are running 100-pound springs in the rear, 125-pound springs. I've also heard guys that are running 550 and 600-pound springs in the rear. And everybody, no matter what, is complaining about forward grip and how to get up off the corner. And you know, that affects the way the car rolls from left to right and from front to rear.
And exactly what you just said, you put that into the braking, and that could be why a lot of these guys are having these tires lock up, because they're so soft. Like you said earlier, they're so soft. When you try to brake and turn at the same time, like Kyle said earlier, you don't have the tire on the ground, that's going to cause a lot of problems.
Going to give Jeff Gordon losing a position here to Jamie McMurray.
And see, it's another spot. He seems like he's losing a spot every lap right there in that last corner.
Going to make Jeff Gordon our Lotramin Ultra Power Performer for his history here. 5 career poles, 5 career wins at Infineon. Our Lotramin Ultra Power Performer. Brian Simo was smoking. His car was smoking. He was black flagged. He has gone to the garage. He's currently scored in the 43rd position.
See the 07 car just setting Jeff up. He's just trying to stay close enough to him to get to the next breaking point, because he knows Jeff's having trouble. Now, if he's going to stay all the way right there through the S's, or maybe he'll even do it before that.
Boyer gets the spot. Kyle Busch is right there.
So Kyle will get the spot down here in the last corner.
Yeah, next time. Either on this next corner or the next time in that area, because it's like you say, he's almost, when he's got fast enough cars, he's almost losing 1 spot on each end of the racetrack when they catch up to him.
Larry?
Well, I was listening to Kyle and Wally talk about the roll of the cars. That's certainly something that they have had to be there's been a challenge with this new car because the center of gravity is a lot higher. But guys, I was just about to say, keep an eye on pit road, because we are getting to that window where I think guys that's been working on fuel mileage, like that 16 car and Greg Biffle, I think this is the window that has opened. They feel like they can make it on 1 stop from right here.
You weren't really going to say that.
I was going to add that.
Matt.
Still, they needed to get to that lap 26 mark. Biffle says the car, he had a small vibration in the brakes, so he was trying to baby those brakes, but the car was loose everywhere, and he's away.
I'm really curious how this is going to work out. 25 laps complete. I really wasn't sure we'd see anybody there much before lap 29.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. You know, to me, that's early. But it's like we've talked about. There's going to be so many strategies in this thing. How do you know how it's going to turn out until you get to the end of the race and see how it shakes up? And the other thing is, we've had no caution. And most of the time, if you look at the history of this race, we've already had at least 1, maybe 2 cautions at this point in time in the race. And we're just not having them today.
Hey, guys, what this will make the 16 car have to do now, he's going to have to run 42 laps and 43 laps in these next segments. What I don't like about cutting it right on the edge, go back to Michigan last week. You have no margin if we have that green-white-checkered at the end. And I know that's on a lot of people's mind going into this race.
Exactly right. Because the deeper you get into these races, the crazier it becomes.
Yeah, but
hold that thought. Lindsay?
Kevin Harvick just pulled his car into pit road, and Kevin was saying that I'm just way too loose right now, complaining that he doesn't have any rear grip. You can see his crew members working to give him 4 fresh tires, fuel, and Kevin is gone, Matt Yoakum.
His teammate Jeff Burton's already in. His service is complete. Now Scott Miller and Ty Barrier were in the 29 hauler yesterday. They were looking at a lot of graphs, looking at past history as far as cautions, and they had earmarked lap 25 to 26 when they would make their first stop. So they're right in that window of their earlier strategy.
Boy, Larry's down there. He's got that calculator out. He is just pounding numbers into that thing, trying to figure it out.
What's interesting here, you see the 31 and the 29 on pit road at the same time. Where's their teammate, the 07? He's still out there. Is he on a different strategy? It's going to be interesting. We've seen the 16 on pit road already, but we've not seen the rest of the Roush team. So did these guys sit down and discuss different strategies for a team as a team effort?
Kyle, it's not different strategies. I talked to Danny Lawrence with Richard Childress Racing this morning. They have worked very, very hard on things with the carburetor and jetting and float level to get better mileage. It made the car harder to drive. Harvick and Burton liked it. Boyer said, I can't drive the car this way, so you're going to see him get a little worse fuel mileage than his 2 teammates.
19th to 11th for Clint Boyer. Martin Truex Jr. on pit road. Working lap 28. Marty?
Well, Bill, what we're seeing these guys do by pitting this early, what they'll do is they'll pit about lap 65 or so at the end of this race because they feel like they can't win it on speed, so they're trying to be the first to pit road, especially for that last stop, trying to be the first off of pit road. So you'll see some guys try it from lap 64. For Truex, his car was loose, as most everybody is. They did air pressure adjustments trying to tighten up that car.
Jimmy Johnson, the race leader, has led 24 of the 28 laps. Casey Kane started from the pole, led the first 4 laps. There's Carl Edwards in second place, trying to close in.
Yeah, he is closing in too.
He's closed in, but you saw that smoke going into that top corner up there. Smoke was from the 1 car who had just been on pit road. He leaves the pits on fresh tires, thinks he can barrel it off in that corner, and locks them up instantly right off the bat.
Those fresh tires make you feel good, don't they?
They make you feel great, but when they don't stick, they make you feel like an idiot.
Carl trying to do the hardest weekend sweep. Won at Milwaukee last night. No driver has won a nationwide series race and a cup race at different places in the same weekend. Carl with the victory last night, closing in on race leader Jimmy Johnson. 28 laps complete. What's going to happen next? TNT Sports at Infineon Raceway in Sonoma, California for the Toyota Save Mart 350. And yes, we are under the first caution of the race. There are some tires on the track, not race car tires.
Well, they may have been at one time. But
oh, that's big.
David
Look
Reagan.
at these tires.
Yeah, look at that. They're tied up good.
It's David Reagan in the 6.
You have to hit those tires hard to move them that far. Look at the nose of this thing.
There's a lot of damage there. Joe Nemechek, the 78 car, was the other car there.
Yep. Now let's try and look at this. Biffle has pitted. These are cars that have already pitted. Biffle, Montoya, Kyle Busch, McMurray, Jeff Burton, Harvick, Gilliland. Tony Stewart was just on and off of pit road. Martin Truex Jr., Casey Mears, and Eric Amarola, who also is the lucky dog in the 8 car. That'll put 42 cars on the lead lap. Brian Simo is back in the garage.
It's going to give those guys good track position right now because they were just in, especially Tony Stewart. I mean, he was just in. So those guys are just going to move to the front of the field, and it just worked out in their favor just now.
Yeah, it totally played into their favor because the guys that were sitting on pit road are headed off. Now these guys go to the back of the line behind them. Yeah, their tires are going to be 4 or 5 laps fresher, maybe 5 or 6 laps fresher, but that doesn't mean a lot when you're stuck back in 18th position.
Because you can wear off those tires really quick when you're in traffic trying to make passes on guys. You're going to abuse the car and the tires a little bit more than you would if you were out front in that top 10 spots.
This is what kills you about this game. You sit here and these guys had a strategy, they play their strategy, and then you get a caution, and it totally takes. Now there's 2 groups out there. There's one group that was trying to stay on strategy, another group that had gone a different way, and it's going to be the end of the race before you see how it plays out.
And Stewart, I think, is sitting the best out of all those cars because he just came in.
Lindsay, here they come.
Here they come. Carl Edwards just got on the radio and said, man, I'm having fun at this one. His crew chief, Bob Osborne, said, I'm glad. That's good. Keep it smooth. Right now, they'll give him an air pressure adjustment as well as 4 tires. Carl also said, hey, can I have 2 drinks because I'm thirsty, Ralph?
Marcus Ambrose will be making his first pit stop in a NASCAR Sprint Cup race, making his way down to the far end of the pit lane. Here he comes to the crew. They're working on trying to get this car a little bit tighter. It's too loose up off the corners. He cannot get the power to the ground, so they're going to make some air pressure adjustments on the number 21, Marty.
Bobby Gordon says he's losing forward bite the longer they run, half pound out of both rear tires. They're going to try and take away a little bit at the beginning of the run to help at the end of the run. Jimmy Johnson, 4 tires already off the pit road. He said the car's a little bit loose, especially off of the corners, down 1 round on the track bar. They also make an air pressure adjustment for more forward bite for the 48, who holds serve here on pit road, Bill.
Thanks, Marty. A lot of traffic. Now, as they went by, the running order behind the pace truck is Biffle, Montoya, Kyle Busch, McMurray, Jeff Burton, Kevin Harvick, David Gittleland, Tony Stewart, Martin Truex, and Casey Mears. And there comes Jimmy Johnson in that 48 car, the first car that pitted. So we've got 10 cars before you get Jimmy Johnson, the first one that was on and off of pit road. Here are some Coors Light cold hard facts. 18 of the 19 races at Infineon have been won from the starting position of 13th or higher. Last year, Juan Pablo Montoya won the race, started 32nd. Our Coors Light cold hard facts. There you see A.J. Allmendinger being pushed back into his pit stall. And also the hood up on Boris Said's car.
Get it started. Let's be calm and get it fixed.
These guys are...
So what else to do, Ricky?
They're trying to, I think they're trying to jumpstart the 84 car. Like we said earlier, you got 3 pit stalls only.
Yeah, that's right.
And it is really hard to get these.
We got fluid in it.
Ralph, you watching the 60?
I am watching the 60. They got major league brake problems down here. They're trying to get the brake situation figured out. He's been having to pump the brakes all day long, and there's just no way you can go fast around this racetrack if you can't slow the car down.
Only go 3 pit stalls here, trying to push it to get it to start.
And like I said earlier, Kyle, it's hard to get these things started in 3 pit stalls.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible.
It is almost impossible.
It takes you 3 pit stalls just to get the speed up to be able to get it in gear.
And look how many guys they've got over the wall. And remember, you're only supposed to send so many guys over the wall on a pit stop. They've got everybody they can get over the wall, but NASCAR's allowing them to do that because there's nobody on pit road and they can push it. You see these guys, by the time they get out of their stall, they're already 1 stall past. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a tough deal right there.
NASCAR did that as a safety issue, too.
Yes, and it is a safety issue. Those guys on pit road need to be protected.
This fresh start is brought to you by Subway Restaurant. Subway, eat fresh. Greg Biffle started 10th. He is the race leader.
Bringing him down slow.
I think
got a good jump.
Montoya was ready to go.
I think Kyle Busch is ready to go.
Yes, he was.
Oh! And he loses the brake duct and everything on that deal. That's costly right there because I saw a brake band fly out of the bottom of that car.
And it looked like Kyle Busch might have gotten around Montoya. He's just going to jump back in line here. Kyle Busch did grab the lead. Sorry, Walt.
Just going to catch up with him later because now he's going to have brake issues. But there you see Tony Stewart taking a look on Harvick.
It's like Montoya checked up a little bit when he saw everything happen up there, and he went ahead and gave the position up to Kyle.
They were thinking about going about 3 or 4 wide right there.
We just said earlier about going up there with new tires, and when it doesn't stick, you feel like an idiot. Well, guess what? 16 car goes up here, he gets a little bit wide. See the brake fan blow out of there?
Good call on that. Yeah, it did. And then you see the 42 kind of check up because he doesn't know where the 18 is going to go. Watch him right here. And there he goes. Now here's the 18. Or the 42. He doesn't know where he's at. Look at that. Boom. There he is.
Stay low and dig. Stay low and dig. Stay low and dig. Come on. 18.
Yeah. See, now he's checked up, and the 18 has the position, so you can't fight him going through those next 2 corners.
5 bonus points for the championship leader, Kyle Busch. Montoya, then Jamie McMurray, Jeff Burton, Tony Stewart, David Gilliland. Harvick mirrors Truex Johnson, the top 10.
You're fine. All good.
On board with Juan Pablo Montoya.
And this gives you a good shot of even Kyle Busch's car. How that car looks really soft to me, Kyle, just looking at it through the corners.
Look at the way these things jump when they hit these curves. These are not curves. These are not curves that are like an inch off the ground or 2 inches. They are angled at an angle. Here we see a foot shot. This is a great shot of Montoya. And look at Montoya as he's on the right foot. He's got his foot laid, and there he is on the brake, but he's still on the gas. He's on the gas, but he keeps his foot on the brake. A lot of times guys will have brake trouble because they never completely get off the brake and they're dragging it the whole time.
Yeah, see, when you shift, all he's doing is blipping the throttle. His foot never even goes near that clutch pedal, which is all the way to the left. So when you shift these cars, all you do is just blip it real quick. Wow, there's a defensive move right there made on the 26 car. McMurray looked like he was going to try to take a shot at Montoya. Montoya shut the door.
Just update a couple of things Boris said in the 60 car after they worked on the brakes, too fast exiting pit road. And the crew members from the 84 and the 83 team did get Allmendinger out of the pits.
There's still a lot of dirt at the top of the hill where the 16 run across and drug all that. And you see those guys go up there.
Well, McMurray's, he's looking for an opportunity right now.
He wants to get around that. The 42 is holding him up right now. At this point in time, the 42 is. And he's trying him in all the wrong places. He's faster than him in all the wrong places right now. See, Montoya will lock a little break right there.
It's funny watching you two guys watch this because I can see both of you thinking what you were going to do next.
Nice and smooth, just like that.
It's not passing on a road course is not like passing on an oval. You don't just run somebody down and then make a move outside or inside. You make a move in one corner, and if it doesn't work, you got to wait all the way back around or get your momentum and get back to his bumper. And that may be 3 laps from now to make your move in exactly the same place again.
See, Robbie Gordon has fallen back to 14th after starting 8th and marching forward. Again, this is 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. All behind Kyle Busch. A couple of tough weeks for Kyle, but he's out front in Sonoma. Are complete. Kyle Busch is the race leader. This is the first time Kyle Busch has led on a Sprint Cup road course in a race, his 7th race in the series. Of course, he won the nationwide race in Mexico earlier this year.
Yeah, exactly. We did a press thing earlier in the week with Kyle, and they said, and the guy that was doing the MC said something about him not being a road course racer, and he turned to me and he said, I guess the guy didn't see Mexico.
Now, Jeff Gordon is struggling. We've reported on it from the pits. We've seen it on the racetrack. Now you can hear it from the driver himself and his crew chief, Steve Letarte.
I don't know where to begin. Yeah, I don't understand. I see you're fighting it. I'm lost. It's just locking the front tires up, getting in. I mean, it's like the front tires got too much camber. We just wore the inside of the tires completely out, and they're gone. I can't go into the braking zone. I just locked the fronts up.
Marty?
And Bill, Jeff Gordon has now fallen back to the 20th position as he crosses the line this time. Very frustrated. They obviously did fix the microphone problem, got that a little closer to his mouth so they could finally understand what he was saying. But you can hear the disappointment and the frustration from the 5-time winner at this racetrack. He doesn't know what to do, and I can tell you they were not this bad in practice yesterday. In fact, they probably had a top 5 car in practice yesterday. But Kyle, you mentioned it. Now it changes their strategy. Now they obviously can't win it on speed. Now they've got to win it by doing strategy.
Well, Yeah, that's true, but if you keep giving positions up like he's given them, I don't even think strategy is going to help those guys.
Yeah, you got to run competitive in your group of cars. And let's just divide it up and say, I've got a car that's capable of running from 10th to 16th. Strategy will take me from 10th to 16th, and hopefully may give me a shot at winning the race, but give me a shot at a top 5. But if you're at the back of that, if you're the 16th place car, you don't have a snowball's chance in winning the race unless everybody piles up on the last lap. And that's the problem. He's dropping from the first group to the second group, and now we see he's outside the top 20 almost. He's going to be back in the third and fourth group, and your strategy there is to get a good top 15 finish by the end of the day.
And you know, he's getting past right now, but I mean, this is the best his car is going to be. What he's saying, if it is true about the camber, there's not a whole lot you're going to be able to do to fix that today on pit stops.
No, and you know, part of the problem with these cars, or with the camber stuff that he's talking about, is they run in such soft springs and you're not getting a lot of roll. We used to work on these cars and we would get what we call camber gain. All the tire would be on the racetrack going down in a straight line, but once you brake and get on the front end, the tires would actually lean in at the top, which would mean just a smaller part of the tire was on the ground. I think what he's saying is he's running so much on that small part of the tire that under braking, he just wears the inside of the tires out.
And that was Scott Pruitt in the 41 car behind him, and right behind Scott, Ron Fellows, 2 veteran road racers. See if they work their way around Jeff Gordon. Right now, everybody chasing Kyle Busch. On board with Kevin Harvick, started 32nd, runs in the 7th position. Fans, if you want more TNT coverage, the Coke Zero in-car camera on Race Buddy lets you vote for and ride shotgun with the Coca-Cola Racing family of drivers. Check out the Coke Zero in-car camera on NASCAR.com's Race Buddy and cast your vote right now. That's the pit straight, headed for the start-finish line here on this 1.99 course. That's the race leader.
Forward drive off 11 here.
Kyle Busch.
Yeah, we're looking at this thing during the commercial break. To me, it looks like the 18 car is awfully soft. And Kyle, you can see a lot of places he's going, especially when he's going fast. He carries that inside wheel, which means the car is soft. That's really good if you're on decent tires. But if you're not on, as your tires wear, that soft setup is going to start to slowly catch up with you.
Yeah, you know, the thing is, he is punishing, when you're carrying one tire, you're punishing that other tire on the other side of the car. Because it has to have all the weight. It takes all the load transfer from one side of the car to the other. So, you know, when you start looking at it, it's just like you say, Wally, if he's going to continue to run like that, then he's got to get all he can get on new tires. It's a good race right here.
Denny Hamlin in the 11.
I'm impressed by Marcos, by Ambrose here in this 21. The 21 car is having probably the better run that it's had all year long or in a long time. And at the same time, he's stuffing it in there with guys he's not used to racing against. Marcos doesn't race with, you know, Denny Hamlin on a regular basis or Jeff Gordon and those guys.
No pressure from behind. Still got a long ways to go, buddy. Nice job.
Taking a look. He's underneath him. Nice move.
I hope he was talking. I hope that was Marco's spotter saying no pressure, no pressure from behind, man, because he was giving pressure to the 11.
How about it, Ralph?
Well, Mike Smith, the crew chief for the 21, was out at the Legends car races at Lowe's Motor Speedway with Bill Elliott, who spends a lot of time behind the wheel of the 21 this past Tuesday. And Bill said, I'll give you the best piece of advice you can pass on to Marcos for me. He says, tell him to stay on that pavement. He said, I've been off in the dirt, I've been off in the gravel, and none of it is nearly as fast as that pavement. And I have found that out the hard way.
Experience. All right, keep an eye on this. Let's check with Larry at the Bill Engvall test car. What are you working on?
Well, when you're talking about road course racing, you're always talking about compromises. Why? Because at an oval, we're always turning left, but at a road course, we're turning right and left. I want to go back to what Steve Letarte and Jeff Gordon have been having conversation about. On an oval track, we run negative camber in the right front. We lean it in at the top. That helps the car to turn to the left. We put positive camber in the left front. We lean it out. But because we're turning left and right, we put negative camber in both front wheels. That helps it turn left and right. And when the car travels, it even pulls more negative camber, and it has it running on this inside shoulder. What Jeff Gordon told Steve Letarte is feel like I have wore this inside edge out, that's the reason the front tires are sliding. The only way you can adjust that is you go right in here and you have to pull these shims out. But you know what? That's probably not going to happen during this race.
Hey, Larry.
Hey.
Is it loud down there?
A little bit.
and that's a great explanation. You saw the way that tire was leaned in. If you're sitting at home, that you know, and you know this, Wally, the tire patch. The most important thing is to get as much tire on the ground as possible. If you're sitting at home, just lay your hand on your kitchen table or on your table next to you, and that's the tire patch. Now, when you put camber in it, lift your inside up or your outside up, and that tells you how much tire is still on the ground. And that's all you care about. That little tire patch that's probably 10 inches wide and 10 inches squared, that goes on the ground. But when you start putting camber in it, it lifts part of that off the ground, which loses grip.
And it's going to help you in certain places of the track, but
Exactly.
it's also going to hurt you. It's going to help you in the corners, but it's going to hurt you on places like braking.
Kill you under braking.
Tough day so far for Jeff Gordon. Kyle Busch is the race leader, 45 laps complete. .47 laps are complete. Two drivers have led 42 of the 47 laps. Jimmy Johnson 27 and current race leader Kyle Busch has led 15. Brian Simo is out of the race because of transmission issues. Boris Said is 1 lap down. AJ Allmendinger scored 2 laps down. They both had trouble on pit road. Said with a brake issue and Allmendinger trouble getting out of his pit stall. Had to be pushed, took a couple of laps to get it going. Kurt Busch involved in some shenanigans on the racetrack.
Looks like Scott Pruitt went to go inside, and Pruitt just got loose under braking and went to try to save it, but unfortunately the 2 car was the one that saved him, and they're going to lose a couple of spots there. So yeah, he clobbered Kurt Busch. There's a lot of damage there.
Yeah, I think he got in there and the 2 came over a little bit, and then when he went to slam on brakes, it jumped out from under him. And that'll do that sometimes. We talk about having front brake lockup. That does that sometimes in a corner like that when you've got too much rear brake. It turns the car.
That was Ron Fellows in the 0-1 that picked up a couple of positions after that contact, and Kurt obviously is headed for his pit stall. There's his brother Kyle. Juan Pablo Montoya runs in the 2nd spot. Jamie McMurray is 3rd, then it's Tony Stewart from 37th to 4th, and Jeff Burton is 5th. Let's check in with Matt.
Bill, remember Juan Montoya pitted on lap 29. He said the car was really skatey. And then Brian Patty reminded him, we tried this air pressure setting in practice. It'll take a few laps to come in, and it has. He's opened up about a 3-second cushion over 3rd place to 26th McMurray. Right now, he is just pacing himself. Brian told him, now we've got to go 10 laps longer than we did the first segment. That should put them at around the lap 70 window.
Pitted on lap 29. 40 is right at the edge.
3.4 to the leader. Last time by, you were the fastest car. Stay flat, leader run at 80.
I'm just looking at the scoring. They were looking at something different than I saw.
Yeah.
But they were firing up their driver. Kyle Busch, the race leader. Montoya, McMurray, Stewart, and Burton at Sonoma. We're under green. That's Denny Hamlin. He has spun in the middle of turn 11. Local caution, and heads on his way. Take a look and see what happened.
Ooh, that was almost a wheel hop, maybe.
And that was almost like the 41. The 41 just had somebody to stop him from spinning a minute ago when he run all over the 2 car.
FedEx Toyota on board.
Yeah, wheel hop.
Wheel hop. Good call, Wally Dallenbach. That was good right there. Wheel hop. And you see all these guys, some of them went to the outside, and then these guys started going to the inside.
when those guys start going to the inside, that just trapped the 11 out there.
And you know how you get out of a wheel hop, and it's really, really hard to do when you're crashing. But you actually have to hit the gas. If you just punch the gas a little bit, it breaks that rear from stop to hopping, and it'll give you a traction again. But it's tough to do, but that's how you get out of it.
And he just made a bunch of our production staff very happy because they spent half the morning looking for wheel hop for you for earlier in the day.
Save that.
And you know what, guys? This goes back to what we were watching on Kurt Busch, the 2 car. We felt like he had too much front brake, and of course, the driver can adjust it from the front to the rear, but that's the downside of putting more rear brake in it, is it makes the car loose on the braking and you get that wheel hop. We talk about compromises. That's another one of the compromises that the driver adjusts with this race car.
That sent Denny Hamlin hopping from 15th back to about 32nd. Scored 31st right now, so lost about 15, 16 positions there. Time for our Toyota driver update. A couple of Gibbs cars running in 1st and 4th. Tony started 37.
Look at that, man.
I mean, just pulling that left front off the ground going through that corner.
My God, that thing looked like it was a foot off the ground when he came around there. But he's still digging, which means the car's still got pretty good forward drive because he's able to lift that left front off the ground and still dig through that corner.
There's David Gilliland in the 38 car, started 31st.
And he came from the Winston West Series, what was then the West Series. So he's run some races here, probably more or as many as some of these Cup guys have.
It's still the West Series, and that's $10. Larry?
Sorry.
All right, guys, that's definitely the car, as he's all over the back of Jeff Burton in this 31 car. Right now, he's running in the 6th position. But Cully Barraclaw, his crew chief, brought him to pit road at lap 24. So what this group is doing, they are looking at running 43 laps per segment. I think if we stay green, this is the first race car you'll see hit pit road at lap 67, but again, they're going to have to run 43 laps per segment, which could be a straight. Oh, by the way, he's been to victory lane here as his dad's crew chief in the West Series.
That's right. You see what Larry was talking about. We have him pitting on lap 24 up here. Lindsay?
Well, Larry was just talking about David Gilliland, and I was able to talk to him after final practice yesterday, and he was just beaming from ear to ear. He was 3rd on board for that practice, and they had made changes looking for grip, so those are the same kind of things that they're going with here today. And David, like Larry said, loves being back in this track, and he had won here as the crew chief on his dad's team, so he really feels like no matter, how that confused, that does give him a little bit extra help here at Sonoma.
Looks like Burton got through the S's just a little bit better than Gilliland on that deal, and he made up a little ground on the braking, but Jeff got just enough in the S's so he couldn't make that pass.
And you know how aggravating it is as a driver. Aggravating is it? You get up through there and they beat you through the S's, and then you're all over them through the top of the racetrack, and you just keep thinking, if I could just get around
all over again,
I'd be gone.
But another guy moving forward, Carl Edwards, up to 7th. Kyle Busch leads. Kyle Busch is the race leader here in Sonoma in the Toyota Save Mart 350 on TNT by about 2.4 seconds over Juan Pablo Montoya. All right, here you go. Let's go for a ride. Watching from upstairs.
I think he's approaching 7 there. This is what will lead him into the S's. This is where this next corner up here, this real fast left-hander coming up. You go down the hill right here, and then right in the middle of this next corner is where he's pulling that left front tire off the ground. Back to the right. I mean, he's got no pressure on him, although Montoya is catching him a little bit right now.
Let's turn 11.
Montoya right there. He's been gaining a couple of tenths of a second a lap.
And this takes you to turn 1 and up the hill. There's start finish. There's
track
turn
looks
1.
wide from that shot, doesn't it?
Yeah, that track is not wide. Once they put that pit wall there, or that wall outside wall, it's incredibly narrow.
Just past halfway now.
This is the top of the hill, and this is uphill. You see that, and now it's downhill, and it sweeps downhill into this next corner.
It's inside Montoya's car. This gives just a really good perspective of how busy the driver is on a road course like this. Coming into 7, downshift. Pretty busy through here. You're carrying a lot of speed through this part of the racetrack right here.
And you're doing a lot of coasting too. You heard him get off the gas and just let it, and there was no get off the gas and then bring the motor down like there is right here.
And it is hard to tell, but there are some huge elevation changes in this track.
Yeah, you come down off the 7, down all the way down in here to this last corner.
2.6 off the leader, completing lap 58.
And it's a pretty good hill all the way down from the top of 7 to here at the last corner.
And this is straight up right here. It doesn't show it from this angle the way our camera is, but this is straight uphill, man. The car loads hard on the front end there. Then you go over the top of this hill. You watch it 42. Down here, the car loads hard on the front end as you turn left. And then this is just blind right here. You pick up the gas and you can't see anything. You just know the racetrack's over that hill.
That's got to be comfortable.
I'm telling you, man, used to there was nothing there. At least they moved the grandstands and you can spot up in the grandstands and say, okay, if I shoot for that guy on the 5th row down there and stay to his right, I'm going to be okay and I'm going to be on the racetrack.
And the edge of the track, it used to be a drop off because everybody used to go off. So if you dropped your left sides off the track, you went for a ride.
You went for a ride the wrong way, spinning the wrong way is what I mean.
Jimmy Johnson restarted 10th on lap 33. He has fallen to 15th. Carl Edwards restarted 11th on lap 33, and Carl has worked his way up to the 5th position as we work lap 59. We're closing in on some pit stops. And what was that word you were using earlier today?
Strategery, baby.
It's coming. Moments that change the game, brought to you by Viagra. Juan Pablo Montoya won the 2007 Sprint Cup race right here at Infineon Raceway.
Coming to the checker flag, and Montoya wins at Sonoma. That's amazing.
And it was. Started 32nd. Got fuel on lap 68 and made it last. For more moments that change the game, log on to NASCAR.com/moments. Kyle Busch leads through the field. Here's Lindsay.
And Bill, you talked about how they're halfway through. They just did their halfway mark checkup. Kyle said the car a little bit loose, but he can handle with it all right. He does want some more forward bite on that net stop. His spotter says, buddy, you got something in the back. Just be smooth. Keep on going, Matt.
Juan Pablo Montoya has opened up about a 3.5-second lead over 3rd place McMurray. He's about 8 laps to 9 laps from hitting pit road once again. He needs some help with forward bite. Ralph?
Boy, Matt, if you're listening into Jamie McMurray's radio, you'd be pretty bored right now. It has been just radio silence. Everything's really good with the 26. Just a little loose to the fast stuff. They're planning on pitting around lap 67, Matt.
You heard Greg Zipadelli say at the beginning of our show, they're going to have to work the different circumstances that popped up. They got the track position they needed. Started 39th, currently runs in 4th. Stewart says the car is just turning so well. Needs a little more help with forward bite. Lindsay?
Matt, Carl Edwards right behind him in the 5th spot. His crew chief just says, get back to your groove. Take it smooth, buddy. You'll be good. Carl told me before this race, people don't realize how badly I want a road course victory. And behind him, Gilliland in the number 38 car. We talked before about how pleased he is to be back at this hometown track for him. Gilliland saying the car's a little bit tight, turning in the right-handers, Matt.
Jeff Burton was 3rd here 1 year ago, battling the fuel mileage. Currently, he runs in the 7th position. He says the car is turning much better after the last adjustments. He said at this juncture, I just cannot go any faster, Lindsay.
Matt, a few laps ago, Kevin Harvick got on the radio and was just saying, I simply don't know what to do about my car. It's just way too loose. But they figured something out. His crew chief, Todd Barrier, says you got a good pace going. You figured it out. Keep doing what you're doing. We'll pit in 7 to 8 laps, Ralph.
Lindsay, one of the things that might have happened to Marcos Ambrose when he wrecked the car yesterday was they think it might have helped calm him down, take a little of the excitement out of him. Right now, everything is going pretty good with the car. Even though it had a lot of cosmetic damage, they're just making small adjustments and planning on pitting around lap 70, Marty.
Ralph, Robbie Gordon won this race 5 years ago today. He would love to celebrate that anniversary in victory lane. The car really fast at the beginning of a run. It is giving up a lot of time here at the end of the run. He said they're just just not enough grip out here. He wants an air pressure and wedge adjustment on the next stop. And Larry Mack, business on pit road is about to pick up, my friend, about 7 laps away.
Oh, yeah, it's going to get real busy. But the car I've been watching is Ron Fellows in that 01 car for DEI. Now, a week ago, he was over in Europe running in the 24-hour Le Mans, finished second. Ron started 22nd in this race. He's up in the top 15, running 14th. The reason Ron Fellows in this car, besides being a great road racer, is to try to pad the cushion on the top 35 and owner points in this 01 car. Regan Smith back in it next week, top 15 finish. That'll help that cause.
There's Robbie Gordon's car. On the hood of that, you'll see DLP. That's the sponsorship that J.J. Yaley has. J.J. didn't make the race. They put it on the 7 car, but J.J. still did the Grand Marshals dinner here Friday night after not making the race. That's class. The Toyota Save Mart 350 from Infineon Raceway on TNT is brought to you by Farmers Insurance. To find an agent near you, go to farmers.com. By TGI Fridays. Sprint Cup Series. Speed is beautiful. Speed's a beautiful thing for Kyle Busch. Leads by 4.5 seconds over Juan Montoya. Jamie McMurray is 3rd. Carl Edwards 4th. Tony Stewart 5th. David Gilliland is 6th. And you've got that note on Marcus Ambrose.
Yeah, Ambrose restarted 17th on lap 33 and is now in the 6th position.
That was 33 laps ago. 66 are complete.
That's impressive.
It is.
That is very impressive.
He's been doing a good job because I've been watching. He's just been patient, and he gets in a position to outbrake the guy, and it's not been any crazy moves.
No,
just all straightforward braking moves.
You know, we had the little poll on the, I guess, the road course guy that was going to come in here and do the best, and he probably scored the least amount because nobody knew the name, but he's running the best. And he's the guy right now who you would have to say is having a great day.
Having a fantastic run.
Okay, you say fantastic. I'll say great.
But only say it once.
Watching for cars starting to creep toward pit road. Kyle Busch stays out.
You know what was interesting is listen to him go through the top 10. Go through the top 10. Everybody complained about forward grip, forward grip. All right, easier said than done. What do you do to give the car forward grip? Because if you soften these rear springs or you try to take air pressure out of the rear, you give it grip, but the car's going to roll more. So now the car's going to drive different. If you put wedge in a car, which sometimes gives the car forward grip, then it's going to be tighter in a corner and you're going to slow yourself down, and you stand the chance of unbalancing the car from left to right and lifting a tire more and locking the brakes more. So it's really hard once you have a car and you're out there on the racetrack to really give it grip. You got the grip that you had yesterday.
You know how you give it grip? Put new tires on.
Put new tires on. That's it. Excellent observation.
That's what they're doing down there, Matt.
Absolutely, Bill. And the 31 of Burton, he was one of the first cars to pit on the first cycle. And again, he said he just needs to turn better. That's the air, a little bit slow on the left side of the car. Looks like they got all the lugs on the Lindsay.
There's all of Childress's cars. All of Childress's cars on pit road at the same time this time, and they weren't the first time.
Right.
The 07 stayed out. We made a comment on the 07 staying out, but now they're on the same cycle.
Kevin Harvick heads off of pit road. There's Martin Truex Jr. David Gilliland also pitted about a lap and a half ago from a top 10 position. Kyle Busch is the race leader. This happening with 60.
No, you can't bring it to us next time, buddy.
67 laps complete.
I can't believe, and this car has been very, very consistent. I thought this car would drop off, Kyle, but so far, he's just running the same lap times, lap after lap.
And that's impressive. He may not be the fastest guy on new tires, but when you're consistent like that, and I think Carl's had the fastest car. He's kind of run up through there. He and Ambrose have had two of the fastest cars.
Ralph, 21, headed for you, bud.
Yeah, Marcus Ambrose getting ready to make his pit stop. And again, everybody's been very pleased with this race car. They're just making minor adjustments to it. They're going to take 4 tires of fuel, and an air pressure adjustment is the plan for Marcus Ambrose. And he's been crawling his way up through the field here. They come to a stop, make the adjustments, Marty. Nothing major here. They're very happy with this race car.
Well, Ralph, this is exactly what Tony Eury Jr. and Dale Earnhardt Jr. wanted to do. They wanted to pit on lap 68 to be able to make it all the way on fuel. They can go from here, but Tony Eury Jr. told me, now if I pit at 68, that does not include a green-white checker. So I'm hoping I can make it all the way for Junior. He's had a car that's been loose all day long, rolling over, especially on the right-hand turns on the left rear tire. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment on this stop, trying to tighten that car up a little bit. Matt?
Down all four tires in the air pressure on the 16 of Biffle. You may have seen the 31 of Jeff Burton on pit road. He was caught for speeding, had to make a return visit, while the 18 is on pit road. Lindsay?
They're going to work with the springs on Kyle Busch's car. They'll give him 4 tires and fuel again. He had wanted some more forward bite, but right now Kyle's saying he's ecstatic with that race car.
Also saw Greg Biffle. Matt?
42 is in, service already complete. Bill on the right side of the car, left's going on. He asked Brian Patty how hard he was pushing it. Montoya never really answered. The car, though, was very stout. The 20 of Tony Stewart's in. You can see the damage just below the dry brake area as Jeff Gooch Patterson tops him off with fuel. A little bit of trouble. Oh, he stalls the car. Stewart has stalled the car. Finally, he is away.
Jeff Gordon on pit road. Jamie McMurray leaving pit road.
Oh, Robbie Gordon.
We were being told by spotters the 7 of Robbie Gordon and the 2 of Kurt Busch have both spun.
And he's stopping, and that'll bring a caution out.
Got a lot of damage to the right front of that car, as you can see on Robbie's car. And
oh,
that was just a chain reaction. A lot of things that happened wrong on that deal.
That's Max Pappas in the 66 on board with Robbie Gordon.
Kurt Busch tried out braking Robbie, got into Robbie, got Robbie turned around, and then got nailed by Pappas. So
now, just a couple of things. Matt talked about the 31. Jeff Burton came in here second in points, was flagged for too fast exiting pit road, had to do the pass-through. A number of cars have not yet been to pit road.
And that's going to hurt.
Right. And last year, Montoya, again, stopped on lap 68. We stayed green to the finish. He went 42 laps.
This kills a 99 car, some of these guys, because, you know, Carl had a very fast car, and it was working for him. This yellow came out probably the worst time it could for Carl Edwards.
And the car like the 20 and these guys that we've seen come down pit road, once again, we're going to see a replay of what we just saw. They're in the proper position to have a good top 5, top 10 finish because they've already pitted.
These guys that stopped had good
strategery.
Like
I'm not going to say it anymore. Remember it.
Their crew chiefs stuck with their game plan and brought them down pit road in the plan they developed last night.
And it's painful. It's painful as a crew chief and it's painful as a driver to be running there in second or third and have to come down pit road knowing that guy's not coming down pit road. But on a road course and in this type of situation, it changes everything.
That's Casey Kane. He has stopped on pit road.
Day, bud.
And we'll check into that. Denny Hamlin gets the free pass.
Do I have lucky dogs in this? Yeah, they do. They do.
He's being.
I don't know where we'll be on. A bunch of cars will probably be a lap down now.
He's being held because you can see the flashing red light. They're waiting for the field to close up behind the pace car before you're released from pit road.
Yeah, I'm not quite understanding that.
So I think what they're trying to do is probably try to get out before maybe the pace car came around. I
didn't see when he came on to pit road.
I didn't see it either. So I don't know what transpired on pit road to have them stop him at the end of pit road like that.
Why are they holding me here? I don't understand.
Yeah, he feels the same way for whatever reason.
And I'm sure there's a NASCAR official in his pit explaining it to his crew right now.
It looks like Robbie might have a right front flat. Not sure why that thing wouldn't be running. I mean, because it wasn't really a big crash.
No, and it sounded like as it got out in the dirt, he stood on the gas and got it to keep it going in the right direction. Then when he got hit again, it's like it bogged down and went down to the end, or down to the bottom of the hill. So you don't know whether it knocked the belt off or it did something and he just caught it in time.
Well, he last pitted on lap 31. Wonder if he ran out of fuel. Check into that. And now he stopped middle of pit road.
This is going to get ugly right here.
They'll be able to get around them.
Meanwhile, Casey Kane has been released from pit road. All right, Lindsay, Carl Edwards is headed toward you.
Yeah, he is, and right now is when crew chief Bob Osborne turns into more of a coach, Bill, because he's saying, don't worry, plenty of racing left. They know that they missed an opportunity. Carl will get 4 tires, a splash of gas. He'll take some water, too. Marty?
Lindsay up front here on pit road. Ryan Newman is in the 2nd position. Jimmy Johnson behind him in 3rd. You guys are right. They really kind of hung their heads when that caution came out. Not well timed for these guys. Newman has had a very good car today. Tight at the beginning of runs, loose at the ends of runs. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment trying to get that car a little bit tighter at the beginning of the run. For Jimmy Johnson, said his car just won't turn. Too much rubber on the track. They're going to make a wedge adjustment and a track bar adjustment for Jimmy Johnson. Matt?
And service, Marty, ought to complete on the 41 of Scott Pruitt, who's just trying to help this team with points. They backed up on the wedge adjustment because the car just got too loose on the right-handers.
It's not only busy on pit road. The guys that had already pitted that are staying out are fighting for positions under caution. Settle it all when we come back to Sonoma. TNT Sports live at the Infineon Raceway in Sonoma, California. Bill Weber, Wally Dallenbach, Kyle Petty, Lindsay Zarniak, Matt Yoakum, Ralph Shaheen, Marty Snyder, Larry McReynolds. Cast of thousands behind the scenes. Under caution after a multi-car incident. We'll make this our NASCAR Sprint Cup mobile monster moment of the day. Stay tuned to all of the in-car audio, live radio broadcast, stats, and more with NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile, only on the Now Network. Visit sprint.com/speed to find out more. Now go ahead.
No, Kyle and I were just looking at each other going, what was Max? I'm not sure what Max was going on that deal.
That was almost one of those deals. I feel bad for Max, but it was almost one of those deals. They're wrecking. I need to get in it. Let me get in there. Let me get in there. Because the 2 just got down and dropped his right sides into the grass or into the dirt and slid up into the 7s.
Well, it looked like the 2 locked his right front up again. And that's what he's been having problems with all day today. And locked that right front up and just slid right into Robbie.
And when you lock the right front up and it's off in the dirt, you got no grip. And they just slid up into him. And I thought Robbie was going to save it for a minute, and then it kind of spun on around, but Max was right there in the middle of it.
Got a bunch more coverage over at NASCAR.com. Just check out Race Buddy. All kinds of fun stuff over there. Kyle Busch is scored as the race leader. Then it's Montoya, McMurray, Ambrose, David Gilliland, Tony Stewart, Kevin Harvick, Ron Fellows, Elliott Sadler, Casey Mears is 10th. Then Jeff Gordon, who really benefited from being on pit road when the caution came out. Sort out more of this for you. We're going to do another lap under caution, so we'll take a break and come back to Sonoma. Still under caution here in Sonoma, Toyota Save Mart 350, and it is time under caution to cue the duck. Our Aflac trivia question. Jeff Gordon leads all drivers with 5 wins at Infineon. Who has the most wins as a crew chief at this track? They stopped putting the answer on the card,
Yeah,
so that's why I left the card down there for you.
Larry Mack knows.
I know who it is.
Who is it, Bill Weber?
Come on.
It would be Larry McReynolds.
Yes, it would. Congratulations to you, sir.
Hey, Larry, how many of those did you really cheat on?
Oh, it's the ones I didn't win. I just didn't cheat enough.
There you go.
Congratulations to you. Pace truck pulls off the track. We go back to green.
Okay, you better explain this one. We've got a couple cars up there.
Tail end of the
lead lap.
Race leader is the 3rd car in line, Kyle Busch. Then it's Montoya looking for that lead.
This is where you get a little pushy and shovey right now, because the guys that are in the lead want to get past these cars as fast as they can. The other guys are fighting all they can, hoping for a yellow so they can catch up to the back of the pack.
The top 18 cars in the running order now, with the exception of the 2 at the tail end of the lead lap, all pitted before the caution came out.
And here comes the 18 underneath. Nemechek in the 78. Montoya slides down a little bit. He's going to lose a spot, maybe.
and maybe not.
Well, Montoya, he won't give up on this.
He doesn't give him up.
Yeah, no, he doesn't. He's not going to go, well, I'm in the wrong spot. I better let him go.
Anybody else would have bled off right there, but he doesn't give him up, man.
And here comes Marcus Ambrose in that 21 car.
And Ambrose is in the good. This is where he's strong right here in this next couple of corners. This is where he'll get right on the back of the 26 of McMurray and try to pull out and make the pass if McMurray doesn't put the block on. But he puts the block on.
Yeah, but he pulled out anyhow. He's there. He's there.
Good.
Oh, he's going to hit the
he gets Montoya!
Yeah, there was no way he was going to hit Montoya. That happens so often here. You're concentrating on the car you're racing and forget the next car.
Caution is out. It'd be between Carpentier and Nemechek to see who gets the lucky dog.
I think the 42's going somewhere.
I think the 42's a little
I think he
mad.
wants to have a conversation with a certain 21 car.
I think they've calmed him down by the time he got there.
And just like Kyle said, I mean, Ambrose made a good move here, but he went in really, really deep on the 26 car, but didn't get it slowed up enough to not hit the 42 car.
Diving a little, leave a room, come.
Oops.
You see the 42 out here. He's not blocking anybody.
No, but when Ambrose made that move, the 42 car was not in front of him either. Did not cut in front of him. So that wasn't real. I'm not going to say that's Marcus's fault at all.
It's not, because the 42 hung out to make his sweep into the corner, and when he cut across, he cut right across, and Marcus was there.
Right.
The later it gets, the crazier it gets. Nemechek's the lucky dog. Back to Sonoma in a moment. Under caution here at Sonoma, who will represent your team in the Major League Baseball All-Star Game? Find out exclusively on the 2008 MLB All-Star Game Selection Show, presented by Chevy. That's Sunday, July 6th, 2 p.m., only on TBS. Just clear up a couple of things. We're told Robbie Gordon ran out of gas. That's why he needed the push back, and they held Casey Kane for position on pit road.
Just like they do at any oval track or anywhere else. When you leave pit road, after you've made a pit stop, you go to the tail end of the line until they double up on an oval. Here you go to the back of the line. Everybody has to go by you. And what they did, he was on pit road, so he had to wait for all the stragglers and everybody to come past the start-finish line and the caution flag before he could go. He thought he was being held a lap. I think the team, if you listen to their communication, they thought they were being held a lap. They were not. NASCAR got it straight. They put them back in line where they needed to be, and that's where they're at.
Casey Kane started first, is scored 35th. Kyle Busch is the race leader. He started 30th. Marcus Ambrose is second. He started 7th. McMurray started 18th as third. Tony Stewart started 37th. Zippy talked about strategy. They're 4th. David Gilliland started 31st. He's 5th. Kevin Harvick, 32nd. He's 6th. Ron Fellows is 7th.
Okay, now let's throw all of this out the window, because now it's survival of the fittest, the fastest car wins.
Good.
That's the way it should be right now. Now this is a race.
No fuel mileage.
What if we go green-white checkers?
I think they still have
I still think they got enough.
Okay.
I swear, I think they've had enough cautions in the last little bit, and with this many laps to go, you know, you're looking at what, 35, 36 laps to go, something like that. I think they've got enough. So I don't think that's an issue. I think it's the guy who has the best handling the car, the guy who has track position. So you got to give a nod to the 18, got to give a nod to the 21,
I think
26.
that 21's going to make a move real early here. I think he's going to be all up over on that 18 car. Because if he does get in front of him right now,
he'll go.
He's got a shot of just pulling away.
40 cars on the lead lap. 33 laps to go.
Whoa! Oh, just
Jamie got a really good start.
And I think he went out to
the
block
outside
on the 26 car, and that's going to cost him a little bit.
Again,
that's a good move on Jamie, because Jamie was up on it.
Now you see
that.
Tony just drops his left side off the racetrack, has to check up, and the 38 gets around him. Good move by Gilliland. I'm gonna tell you, you got to give a nod at Jamie. We looked at all the footage from last year. He runs second. He led. He runs second. And it's like Montoya this, Montoya that, and he never give a nod to McMurray for having a really good race. And he's been a top 2 or 3 car all day today. Ooh, 18 got in there hot.
Everybody's going to be getting in hot right now. Time to go. Fellows.
Here's the restart.
Yeah, just what? McMurray anticipated a little bit better than Ambrose did. I think Ambrose went out there to block
And that is a legal pass to the outside.
Okay.
And Jamie McMurray went to the outside. That is a legal move. And when he went out there, I don't think Marcus thought he was going to go out there. And when he did, Marcus went to block. They hooked bumpers. Jamie turned left, and it was a good crossover.
And Marcus Ambrose in that 21 car. This is his first race in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series.
Thanks, buddy. You got plenty of time.
Ralph.
Well, as far as the 26 of Jamie McMurray goes, he's opening green flag laps on new tires are really tough on him. The car's very pushy at the very beginning. It gets better as he goes along. So the 26 should get better if we stay green all the way to the end. And as far as fuel mileage goes, guys, everybody in the front, the 26 and 21 in particular, are both good, even if it goes green, white, check.
Oh, boy. You know what that means?
That means
as hard as you can.
That means it's a race, man. That means it is a race.
And we are told NASCAR did review the restart, and Kyle, you were right.
Hold on. Wait a minute. You were right a minute ago, I have to say.
You were talking about how the fans got the vote in the AT&T poll question about road course stars. Look at this. Got 2 in the top 10. Boris said had brake issues early in the race.
Brake issues. And I mean, he was the one that got the most votes, but he had brake issues, which obviously mechanical, you can't put that in the equation. You know what I mean? And like we've said, you take a guy who's had a really good day, something mechanical can't ruin your day.
Jimmy Johnson led 27 laps earlier in this race, but really hasn't been a factor lately. The cautions have hurt him. He's back in 19.
Jimmy has not been a factor in the race since the first round of pit stops.
Right.
He really hadn't. They got caught back there in the pack. He and the 99 started in the same position, 15th, 16th, wherever they started right along there. Jimmy went, the 99 of Edwards went forward, and Jimmy basically stayed the same. So there's not been a lot of movement in that car.
And Edwards is sitting in the 24th spot right now. That is going to be tough.
But somebody sitting up front in the 5th spot's doing pretty good, Matt.
Bill, track positions and cautions have really helped the strategy for Tony Stewart. Sits 5th. His problem is not fuel. They are good to go even if they get a green-white-checkered. His biggest issue has just been forward bite. Zippy doubled up the change they made on their first stop, hoping to really give him more grip on exit.
On board with Tony.
He's looking up there at Gilliland right there at 38. Gonna take a look at Ambrose, and he's got a really good run.
Oh, right in front of him, too.
Contact.
That was big. I don't think Marcus thought he was there. That was a good move by Gilliland, though, man. I'm going to tell you. That was a power move. And he's got the line right here. I'm going to tell you that 19 car is lurking right there behind him, too. Elliott Sadler. I just don't think about Elliott being a road course racer, and here he is running 6th.
I mean, Gilliland just set him up perfect.
Yeah, he had position way back there, Gilliland in. And I swear, I just don't believe that the 21 car thought he was up beside him that far.
Both these guys are in trouble right now. The way Tony Stewart looks like he's running.
He's going to make a move on the 21 right here.
Stewart for the position. Oh! Again, that 21 car, his first Sprint Cup Series race.
I don't know what happened to Ambrose all of a sudden, but he's losing a lot of spots right now. I think he maybe needs to just get his rhythm back a little bit. I think he's getting bounced around and rattled right now.
And this is where inexperience in these cars. How hard do I drive? What do I do? Do I just fall in line? We've seen him be able to, late in a run, continue to pass cars. So maybe he can give up a position here or a position there. You know, obviously he didn't want to give up the second position because he wanted to be in place to win. But at this point in time, you know, if a couple of cars get away from you, he still can run them back down.
Yeah, I think he just needs to settle back and get his rhythm back. But then again, everybody's starting to move a little bit harder too this time of the race.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You know, it's not everybody stop being nice.
It is hard to believe. It is hard to believe how good these drivers are. How when it's late in a race and it's time to go, they reach down and they get a little bit more. And if you're not used to running with them, you think, my God, I got these guys covered.
Yeah,
I'm with them.
earlier in the race you do.
Yeah, I got these guys covered. And all of a sudden they dig a little bit deeper. And that's what makes them great Cup drivers. You got Tony, you got Kyle Busch up front. You got these guys that are used to doing this. Gilliland's doing a great job.
Strong run for Elliott Sadler in that Stanley Dodge, Marty.
And he might take objection to Kyle not saying he's a road course racer and not being known for a road course racer. He's had 3 top 10s in his last 4 Infineon races. You see on the right-hand side of the screen there, actually the left box on the right side of that, an orange piece of tape. What's written on that orange piece of tape for Elliott Sadler is look ahead. He's reminding himself every corner that the corner you're in right now sets up the next corner. Look further ahead than your hood is what he told me right before the race. It's obviously proven very well for him today. Currently in 6th, trying to go forward and get around that 21 car.
Okay, you see him working down through the S's right now. He's coming into turn 10, the right-hander. Going to probably take a look in his mirror real quick to make sure nobody's going to try to outbrake him. Yeah, he's doing a good job. He's got a good car.
He's going to use the nose of that car in a second, isn't he?
Well, and he's in a situation right now where trying to get by the 21, and Harvick's right there trying to get around him, so he can't sit there and follow somebody for very long.
Yeah, and Harvick's trying to keep fellows off of him, so you've got guys here who are wanting to go, and you don't know how much he's holding them up at this point in time.
See how it plays out here. Still a long way to go in Sonoma, but plenty of excitement on the road to victory lane. Heartbreak for Marcus Ambrose and the Wood brothers. He has spun on the racetrack and come to pit road as we stay under green here in Sonoma.
Take a look here. You see Elliott Sadler trying to outbrake him, and he just locked up his brakes and went straight into Marcus Ambrose. You can see the front tires were locked up on the 19 car. Once that happens, you can't turn it.
And you look at the 19 car, he loses the position, so he doesn't gain anything either. You know, he gets in there. He did not mean to get in there.
No, he tried
hard,
staying off the 21. He was on the brakes hard.
Yeah, and then you see the 29 turns right under him, so it's not like he spun him and gained anything. He lost everything on this.
On board with Elliott Sadler.
Yeah, once he locked it up, he just tried standing on the brakes harder, but
Come on with it. Inside, right side.
couldn't get it slowed down to stay off the 21.
Marcus was running 5th, is now scored 34th, Ralph.
Well, he's draining a whole bunch of fluid from underneath the car, and they have ended the day for Marcus Ambrose. His race is over. What was looking to be a great debut finish for this first-timer is now come to an end.
Still a great debut. I mean, he did a really good job today. He ran with these guys, so nothing to hang your head about that.
That's right. He impressed a lot of people. The fans out there should be incredibly impressed.
But what's he going to remember?
He's going to remember. He, as a driver, is going to remember the end of the race and where he finished. You know, he really will. I mean, yeah, you'll look back and you'll think, my God, I raced with these guys. I raced for the lead. I raced up front. And that's what the fans should remember. When, after a couple of days, hopefully he'll remember that he raced with these guys. But right now he's remembering he's being pushed to the garage area.
And here's one for you. The 21 car has 90 career wins. The last win was by Elliott Sadler in that 21 car at Bristol back in March of 2001.
I guess Elliott wanted to keep that record.
Oh, the irony.
Only you would say
It always is that way,
Only
isn't it?
you would
It
come
always
up
is
with
like
that.
that.
Kyle Busch, the race leader. Coming around to complete lap 86. The 24 to go when he gets to the start-finish line. Dropping back to look for Ron Fellows. That's 01 car right there. 7th position. Matt Yoakum.
Bill, he's been working on the back of the 19 of Elliott Sadler. He is just so impressive, Ron Fellows. Every time he comes to a NASCAR race, they call him a road course ringer, but he's just a great guy, let alone very impressive in his skills. In fact, from 1998 through 2001, he won a NASCAR race either in the Nationwide or Truck Series. He has finished twice in Cup. Once to Tony Stewart, once to Jeff Gordon. He is money. They're looking for a good top 10 finish for this 0-1 once again today. Marty?
Matt behind him, that is Jeff Gordon. No, he is not 1 lap down. Yes, he is on the lead lap after the day this team has had. He is in the 8th position. Let me give you a couple of tidbits that they've thrown out there today from Jeff. Terrible, worst car out here, absolutely horrible. Those were 3 of the things Jeff had to say about that car. Now they have made it not so bad. Steve Letarte and his crew have rallied this car, and it didn't hurt Larry Mack that they were on pit road on lap 69 when that caution came out.
Definitely looks like strategy will buy that 24 car a better finish than they have as far as a race car. But I want to talk about his teammate, Casey Mears, the 5 car behind him. Only 2 top 10 finishes In 2008, Casey qualified 23rd. Alan Gustafson's had good strategy. He's up in the top 10. The word is that Casey may have been told last week at Michigan that he will not be returning to Hendrick Motorsports in 2009. Ralph?
Well, Clint Boyer just busted his way into the top 10, and that's by turning his fastest lap of the race, doing it just on lap 82. He's getting faster as the race progresses, and he's good to the end of this race, gentlemen, on fuel.
Thanks, Ralph. Boy, this is going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Some guys got lucky to be in this position, but you got to be good to win it. Kyle Busch, his best career road course finish, 7 at Watkins Glen. 21 laps to go in the Toyota Save Mart 350 at Infineon Raceway here in Sonoma, California. That's your race leader, Kyle Busch. Robbie Gordon in front of him is 1 lap down after he was involved in an on-track incident with Kurt Busch and Max Pappas.
38 cars been running very good today, running good times. They've been lucky, like a lot of these cars have been when the cautions come out, so they've been on the right sequence.
Lindsay?
Bill, and you guys are right, and you know what? They say they are good to go on fuel. The 38 of David Gilliland, they pitted last on lap 66. That means they got about 44 laps of fuel to go. David feels like the car's in great condition right now. This is a car that they obviously tested with. They went to Road Atlanta, and ever since they got back from that test, David's been really pleased.
Runs third, his best career finish, 4th at Talladega in April of last year. What a lift that's going to be for those guys.
And it would be huge for those guys. You know, I think Doug and those guys have worked really hard.
Doug
Yates have worked really hard on that 28 and that 38 with Travis. And it seems like every week they get one to run good, and then the next one runs good. But, you know, like we said, David's been out here. He's been out here with his father. He's been out here as a crew chief. He's been out here and run the tour out here and stuff, so he knows this racetrack. And look, you know, when you go home and you're able to run in front of some of your friends and family too, that gives you a little bit of boost. So it's really, really nice because he's a good guy. It's really nice to see somebody like him having a good run today.
Watch the field go through here. Going to drop back and find Juan Pablo Montoya. Runs in the 11th spot. There he is. Matt, you've been watching him today.
Bill, he's climbing back up the scoring, trying to rebound from that spin, currently in 11th position. His biggest complaint, he says the car is just extremely loose. Brian Patty is trying to remind him, they have a lot of laps left. Just take your time. 20 laps to go. Just hang in there.
And he's probably driving it a little bit harder than he was earlier, so that's probably a lot of the reason why it's very loose. But he's one of the fastest cars on the track.
Yeah, just as you say that, he stuffs it in there 3 wide. You know what I mean? He's probably driving a little bit harder. Yes, he is. You know what I mean? I mean, he drove in and run up on that 5 and that 07 in that corner like big time. He is, you know, he is mad right now. He's mad because he felt like he was in contention to win, and something beyond his making took him out of it and took him to another place. So he's got to get back up there.
Yeah, he's looking for the 21. I'm sure nobody's told him the 21 is out. In fact, I would say, hey, you're only about 4 cars from the 21, so go, baby.
One more. If you get around one more, you can see him and just keep going.
That's
until
the
you
carrot.
Yeah, just, you can see him, man.
Marcus Ambrose out of the race.
These guys are just clobbering that curve. And like I say, it's not really a curve, but they hit it pretty hard.
It's almost like a knee wall, man. It's not a curve. It's like hitting a knee wall in your driveway, the way it knocks these cars up. And the funny part is, you see the guy in front of you hit it, and he goes up in the air, and you think, I'm going to gain some time. And then you hit it the same way. Yeah. So you don't gain anything. And you think, my God, if I had just got through there, he made a mistake. I didn't need to make that mistake.
Casey Mears, then Montoya. It's 11 seconds from 1st to 7th.
And that's an eternity at this place. That is an eternity. We saw, you know, Juan in the 18 run within 2.5 seconds for a long part of the run before. And then finally, Kyle stretched it out to 4 seconds or something like that. But, you know, he was not making any progress on the 18. The 18 car has been the fastest car and the best car the second half of this race.
Yeah, and Montoya needs a caution, you know, to separate that 11-second gap. Maybe he can get up there and race with them, but he's not going to make up 11 seconds to run down Kyle Busch.
11 seconds and 18 laps is not going to happen at this place on equal tires with these drivers.
Wally talked about Clint Boyer's situation points on the All-State Countdown to Green. Clint still holding on to the 12th spot. Oh, Marty's got something we're going to want to hear. Snides?
Yeah, I've caught up with Marcus Ambrose. Not the time we expected to be talking to him, Bill. We expected to be doing that after the race in the top 5 corral. What happened in the contact with Elliott Sadler?
We actually broke a gear.
You broke a gear?
Yeah, when Elliott got in the back of me, I was just down changing to first gear, and the shock I just heard it go crunch, 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 and that's unfortunate. Then it put a hole in the gearbox casing, and we were blowing oil out. I just didn't want to oil the track down, so I just came in and parked it. It's a shame it's a sad end to a great day. I just feel like we had a great run going, and I feel proud of the Wood brothers for giving me a great piece, little Debbie and the whole McKee family for giving me the chance to go cup racing. I had a great time out there. I had a blast.
Also have to ask you about the contact with Juan Pablo Montoya.
Yeah, that was just really unfortunate. You know, I was passing McMurray on the inside. He squeezed me right down on the dirty line there, and I was stopping as much as I could. And I don't know whether Montoya spotted, didn't call it, but you know, he just came across my nose. I just couldn't stop. I was trying to get out of his way, but that's what happens on restart sometimes. It gets a bit messy.
Marcus Ambrose with the story of this race, Bill, but his day ends early.
Yeah. Thanks, Marty. Appreciate you getting that. Hope the Wood brothers flying back home think about how well they did, not how disappointed they are at the end. Kyle Busch is the race leader. 17 to go in Sonoma. You ready to watch and listen to your favorite driver all race long? Check out Track Pass Race View yourself. Log on to NASCAR.com/TrackPass right now and start your free trial. It's the Home Depot Toyota of Tony Stewart in the 4th position.
Stewart's running. He's running good. Running some pretty good lap times right now, making a little ground on the 38 car. David Gilliland. See McMurray's right up there in front of him too.
Yeah, it's incredibly deceiving. You see these guys in the fastest part of the racetrack, and there's 20 cars between them. And then you catch them going into that final corner, and it looks like, oh my God, they're battling for position right on top of each other. But they are closing that gap. I think the difference between Tony and McMurray is coming down with about 14, 15 laps to go.
And on top of that, and then when you start seeing that you're gaining on a driver, you know, you start driving a little bit harder, especially if you're making up ground.
But how hard is it and how aggravating is it when you say, okay, I'm gaining on him. Now I'm going to get up on the wheel and I'm going to drive, and then you lose a second and a half.
Then you blow a corner.
And then you relax again, and then you gain on him again, and then you get up on the wheel. Harvick's doing a good job. Harvick's pulled away from Fellows. They were running nose to tail there for a little while. Had a pretty good battle going, and he's pulled away.
A week ago, it was Dale Earnhardt Jr. in victory lane. He runs in the 12th position, Marty.
Yeah, having a decent day, Bill, but remember what he said in Countdown to Green earlier today? I don't like road courses. I just want to get out of here with a decent finish. And in the process of trying to get that decent finish, he went to school for a few laps.
Tell Juan to go. They're coming. Oh, you're fine. Just keep concentrating on what you're doing there. No, tell Juan to go. Make some holes. He's the pro. That's what I'm telling him.
Now I wonder if he did.
Here's what I like. He said, tell Juan to go. He's a pro. He's a pro. Well, what are you, man? You're a pro. He wasn't last week, man.
He doesn't like these things, and neither did his dad.
No.
Hey, Kyle.
Yeah.
Who does that sound like, speaking of his dad?
That is good right there, man. Because he's looking in the mirror. He's not looking to pick up positions. He's looking in the mirror behind him, wanting to get away from the guys that are coming behind him.
Yeah, like I said, he's doing pretty good if he's hanging on that 42 car. And he has been for about the last 6 or 7 laps.
Hey, Larry.
Hey.
Was that a challenge?
I closed my eyes, and it's like 1997 and 98 all over again.
I like that. That may be the quote of the year. Tell Juan to go. He's a pro.
Are you kidding? That's a T-shirt next week.
That's exactly
right. They'll be selling those at New Hampshire.
That is perfect.
And by the way, I heard from Jerry Gappins at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. They do have a few tickets left for next Sunday's race, and Bruton Smith, and they might have some standing room only tickets going on sale in the middle of next week. So it's now the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, NHMS.com to check it all out there, and we'll see you all up there next weekend. Larry Mack?
Yeah, I wanted to kind of propose a question to Kyle and Wally. You know how mentally challenged this racetrack is, and I'm looking at Kyle Busch that has now
I thought he was going to say we were.
Well, that too. But the fact that he has led 63 laps, and I can't help but think, I know he's only 22 years old, But when you look at what he has tried to do the last 2 weeks by doing all this triple duty racing, and the fact that he finally decided this week just to stay focused on this 18 car, on this Sprint Cup Series championship, and I don't think he has missed his mark in one corner of one lap. The fact that I think a lot of his focus has stayed here at Infineon.
I wonder if he just put the jinx on him.
And you know, and that's a good point, Larry. But I'm gonna tell you something. I talked to him this weekend, and I think he had a point to prove, saying that he was a Cup driver that could win on a Cup road course.
Last green flag commercial break. Come back for the final 10 at Sonoma. Kyle Busch is the race leader, but while you were away, a little bit of extra activity on the track involving that car of Jimmy Johnson with a little help. There you see his pit.
We've seen this earlier with the 2 car. Biffle just tries to get up underneath him. He just cuts it a little bit. He slides up into the 48, just taps him, but it doesn't take much to get somebody around right there, because you're already on the edge of spinning out going through that corner without any help.
On board with Jeff Burton right behind the incident.
Spin in front of you. Stay down. Stay down. All clear. No caution.
15th to 23rd. And we have a car off the track directly across from us. It looks like it's David Rudiman, and he has nosed it into the tire wall. Caution is out.
Yeah, I was sitting there looking out the window, and that car never even started to turn. It was like something was locked up on it, because he just went straight, and it didn't even make any indication that it was going to make that corner.
Full course caution with 9 to go.
Here he comes.
Yeah, something left front tire went down.
Left front tire goes down.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And that's a harder hit than what it looks. They've done a good job here at this speedway putting those tires in place. When we first came out here, there were some guys that got into the guardrail and would roll over the guardrail. Remember when you get on the other side between there and the wall? And David has had a tough time out here this week trying to get used to this racetrack.
Backup car. And look at it looks like he's had some other stuff going on before this wreck.
Yeah, this is not that right side damage was could not be attributed to this wreck.
And you saw him drop the window net, the indication that the driver is okay. See him moving around in there.
And wants to leave this place quickly. He wants to leave this racetrack fast.
Let me go.
Not been a good weekend for them.
Lindsay, you got more on David?
Well, I do, and I'm building on what you guys were talking about. He can't wait to get away from this track, basically. I mean, he told me over the weekend just about how he frankly had zero confidence here, and he's one of those guys that'll be really honest with you and say just how much they're struggling, and obviously you can see that the crew members there are working on talking to him. Just getting him out of the car is most paramount, but David Rudiman, obviously not the kind of weekend at all that he's wanted to have at this track.
I spent some time talking to his dad, Buzzy, at the Tampa airport last Sunday night after we got back, and he just said, you know, David competes in both the Nationwide Series and over here, and just there you see he's out of the car, and he feels real comfortable in the Nationwide Series, but he comes over here and it's just a tremendous learning experience, lap after lap, week after week.
And it's funny that she uses the word confidence, and you talk about it, because I watched him yesterday afternoon. He lands in a helicopter, he gets in a car that he's not been in all day long, and he goes out and qualifies fourth or fifth in it. That's the confidence he has in his ability, but that's the confidence he has in that team. He has the confidence in this team. He just, at this place, he just lacked that ability or that confidence in his ability to go out there and do it. So he's very tentative, which makes this a hard place to drive when you're tentative.
And this is his first road race in the Sprint Cup Series. Next Sunday, follow the world's best drivers as NASCAR on TNT heads to Loudon, New Hampshire. Tune in as coverage begins at 12:30 Eastern with NASCAR Live on TNT, presented by Castrol GTX. That's followed by the All-State Countdown to Green, and then NASCAR Sprint Cup racing from Loudon. Next Sunday on TNT from the New Hampshire Motor Speedway.
I know those tires aren't the prettiest thing in the world when you see them laying around a racetrack, okay? But it's like the original softball, okay? I mean, it really is. It's like the original softball to absorb that energy. Tires and old tires like that do a tremendous job to absorb that impact and to be able to bounce the car a little bit.
You look at the angle he went into. It wasn't a pretty angle. If it was just going into concrete right there. So that you're right. It does absorb. Anything helps. Hay bales would help.
Hay bale, anything would help.
And it was about 11 seconds from first to 7th. And when they restart, it's going to be about 11 seconds from first to 25th.
Maybe 11 seconds from the end of the race when they restart. No, but yeah, and this is, you know, this is what Kyle Busch dreaded, and this is what Jamie McMurray was praying for. So one more shot at him, you know what I mean? I think Tony feels the same way. One more shot at these guys because, you know, you got to get up through the gears. You got to get up through that first corner again with everybody right on your tail one more time.
That's it.
To get through it.
The only thing that you can really do right now to Kyle Busch is just put the pressure on him, which nobody has done all day long. I mean, he's pretty much had clear sailing, almost to the point where it looks like he could just go if he wanted to, if somebody did start to come up in his mirror. So now, again, we're at the end of the race. These guys are going to dig down a little bit deeper, especially Stewart.
Oh yeah,
he's gonna be going for it.
Yeah, Kyle's just run his own race. Now these guys are going to have to force him. If they can force him in those first couple of laps to make a mistake and get out of his rhythm, then Tony or McMurray are one of those guys, or even David Gilliland may have a shot at him.
And I think McMurray, just watching him on the restart today, I think that's where he's going to be trying to make that move, is on the restart, or at least.
Yeah, he's
fill
going
the mirrors up.
Yeah, he's going to try to repeat the move he made on the 21 car.
Let's check with Mark and Larry.
All right, thanks, Bill. Yeah, I got Larry Mack here, and you guys are talking about all the cars coming up on the number 18. I want to know from you, what's the number 18 do to keep these guys off them as they restart this thing?
Well, they're on very old tires, and you have to be so careful that you get those tires cleaned off and you don't spin the tires on this restart. They've been out there, you know, almost 30 laps or better on those tires. But I think a turning point of this race, even though we're here at lap 103 or 104, was on lap 29. When I look at Tony Stewart and Kyle Busch teammates, remember they qualified 30th and 39th. When they were sitting on pit road and the caution came out, they were able to get their 4 tires, complete their stop, go off of pit road and gained all that track position. I think lap 29 was key for those guys as they were sitting there, then the caution comes out.
Yeah, I mean, we had last year several times where the cautions came into play, and this year really just that one time.
And then on the flip side of that, it's been the Achilles heel for Carl Edwards in the 99 and Jimmy Johnson in the 48. Right after the caution came out, that's when they had to come to pit road on the caution. They lost their track position not once, but twice.
All right, let's get it back upstairs as we're ready to go green, guys.
All right, thanks. No lucky dog inside of 10 laps to go. Be 6 to go when they get the green flag after they come around through turns 11 and 12. Want to thank the folks from Sprint. They hosted a very nice dinner at Del Dado Winery on Thursday night. It's very nice of them. Got a chance to talk to some of the guys from RCR. They were there. And congratulations to the people here at Infineon on an outstanding Grand Marshals dinner on Friday night that raised a lot of money for the Speedway Children's Charities. They did a great job with that. It was fun being a part of that. Boris said won the cook-off, by the way. So he did better Friday than he did today.
All right, I think you watch these guys, especially 26 of McMurray and Stewart on this restart. And if they anticipate it just right, they could do something, but they're kind of laying back a little bit right now.
Yeah, McMurray especially.
And Kyle just smoked him right there on the restart.
He did. Yes, he did.
6 to go.
That was a good restart by McMurray, though, even at that, because he got rid of Tony, and that was a big deal for him. You know, he's focused on that 18, but he's got to get rid of Tony too.
Oh, I don't know if he's going to get rid of Tony
there. And Tony's going in here. And Tony has the preferred line here. Tony has that's a mistake by the 26. He got in the corner. He had position, got in the corner too hot. But how many times have we seen that on restarts so far today?
Bobby Labonte had stalled on the track. Apparently he got a push back, has made it back to pit road. Robbie Gordon helped the 43 back.
Harvick goes in.
We got McMurray and Stewart.
Harvick just took out 4 guys.
That was incredible. Oh. One just barely got by that.
And Harvick just got in there way too deep, got on the brakes, got it loose.
That's an incredible dominoes effect. That's an incredible. I don't think I've seen 3 cars spin like that.
Either.
Synchronized spinning, and there's Ron
Fellows.
Fellows.
Ron Fellows is the other car.
After a great run that he had today, you got to give him kudos for that.
Watch here now. You'll see the
Caution is out, by the way.
Harvick just got loose and tried spinning it down. I mean, unfortunately, I mean, he tried avoiding the 26 and everybody else, but there's no way that everybody is sitting there.
Full course caution after this. 33 races since Jamie McMurray has been to victory lane at Daytona in July of last year. 29 races since Tony won at Watkins Glen.
That's ugly.
That is, and this is when you know, golly, look at that. It's like bowling pins. When the ball hits, it just knocks them in. It's just a chain reaction.
He'd still be sliding if that 26 car wasn't there to stop him. I mean, he went in there.
On board with Kevin Harvick.
This is the turn before where he gets into him. He gets a good run on the 38 car right here. And you see him go to the inside.
Left side, driver on in there. Left side, good job. Left side, clear. Left side, ooh.
He may have got a little wheel hop on that deal, too, because I heard something shuddering back there.
Down, caution.
Poor Tony's probably going, what the heck? Yeah, open racetrack.
That's cool, though, man. I mean, you heard him as soon as it started to spin, he lit it up, trying to keep it out of the dirt and trying to stay, and he pretty much stayed off the dirt. He just spun around.
And look who's second right now.
Look who's second. Look who's third, too. Right. That's what's killing me. We've heard Jeff complain, but the 38 car of David Gilliland has put himself in a great position. He was just in the right place. He was the car that was being passed by the 29 when the accident happened.
32 years old. In his 67th Sprint Cup Series race.
And you know who's loving this more than anybody? The 18 car. He looked up in the mirror and he just had the biggest smile on his face. Because those guys, he knew he was going to have his hands full.
Yeah, I don't think, unless something dramatic happens to the 18, I don't think the 38's got anything for the 18. But I think the 26 and maybe the 20 could have had something for him for a couple of laps on the early get-go here.
But the restart is going to be so critical.
The restart is critical on all this. And look, it's a road course. He has shifted 100 times a lap, it seems like. He's jammed on these brakes. You never know when something's going to happen.
But like you said earlier, Kyle, the mistakes happen on the restarts or right after the restart.
Yes.
You know, you take a restart and everybody's jammed up. You think you could make a move, and that's when you have cautions like we just had after the restarts.
And that's when you see people make their moves, and they make moves because they got on good tires. These guys had to make something happen on tires that have 35, 40 laps on them, it seems like.
David Gilliland, just his 4th Road Cup race in the Sprint Cup, or his road race in the Sprint Cup Series, but he made his debut at this track 2 years ago this weekend. Runs second behind Kyle Busch and in front of Jeff Gordon. Then it's Elliott Sadler and Clint Boyer, the top 5. Casey Mears, Juan Montoya, Ryan Newman up to 8th. Earnhardt Jr. in the top 10 and 9th. And Matt Kenseth. And I think that's the first Matt Kenseth mentioned today.
That may be the first Matt Kenseth mentioned all day long. And Matt is one of those guys that just likes to get out here and get gone and get back home. You know what I mean?
But I tell you this, he has moved into 12th in points in front of Tony Stewart and in front of David Reagan. And this was a guy on a conference call about 6 weeks ago. We talked about, you know, they're really going to have to start making their move. And, man, they have really done well. Yeah, if you called Matt and said, hey, we'll give you a top 10 at Sonoma.
Oh, he's there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's there. I'm done.
You don't have to go.
Yeah, I don't have to go.
We're just giving you 10th in points.
Give me a 10th and I'll head on home. You know what I mean? You may have been able to call Matt and say, I'll give you a 15th. And, you know what I mean? And he's like, okay, I got you, man. But he's just been steady all day long. He's not been a car that we've talked about, but he's one of those guys that's just been, and that's the way this thing works out. That's why the road courses are so strange for the Cup cars and for the Cup fans sometimes to understand. It starts as a strategy race for some of them. It starts as a race for other ones. As other ones, it starts just to get through the day.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Survival.
And when it all comes down,
track.
stay on the track. It's all about staying on the black part. And I know that sounds so incredibly stupid to the fans out there, but it's harder to do than what you believe, what you think it is.
Mr. McReynolds
Yeah, what I've been doing is we're going to look at a little bit of highlight from this 106 laps we run so far. This was on lap 70 up in turn 2. This is the Robbie Gordon the 7, Max Pappas the 66, and Kurt Busch in the 2. It brought out the second caution of the day on lap 70, bunts the field back up. On lap 75, right after a restart, Juan Pablo Montoya running second. Marcus Ambrose in the 21 car gets into him, going down to turn 11, and Montoya has never been able to recover from this. Right now, he's running in the 7th spot. Lap 84, Marcus Ambrose in his Front Cup Series debut. He's running 5th. Elliott Sadler gets in the back of him, pairs up a gear and transmission. He's out of the race. And the caution on lap 101 that bunts the field back up. David Ruderman has a flat left front in a backup car, goes hard into the wall, and now we are under the 5th caution of the day here as we're about to go back green.
And it makes you wonder what's going to happen now.
Not only at the front of the pack, these guys, just like you were talking about, you know, the 20 car drops out of the top 12. You know, these guys have got to pick up as many positions in these last 3 or 4 laps as they can to salvage as many points out of this thing as they can.
Kyle Busch started 30th. He is the championship leader. David Gilliland started 31st. Jeff Gordon is Mr. Sonoma. He started 5th, runs in 3rd. Pace truck will dive to the right. Kyle Busch brings them toward the restart mark. 3 laps to go when the flag goes in the air. Hang on for turn 2.
Jeff got a restart like he smelled blood in the water, man.
Yeah, but he just couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah. Gilliland got through there good, man.
Oh, they're jammed up back there. That's somebody spinning off to the side there.
Oh. It's 11 car,
Hamlin.
I think.
Yep, Denny Hamlin.
And my man Tony beat me. These guys are just all over right now. Ooh. 5 car was way out there then.
The longer we go, the crazier it gets. Kyle Busch leads David Gilliland. Caution is out. Full course yellow.
Pruitt.
There's Pruitt.
Normally Reed Sorensen in that car, but Scott Pruitt doing the driving this weekend here on the road course. And we're going to go past 110 laps.
I think there's fluid on it. I think this thing's dropping fluid because when he dropped her down in there a little bit, it got a little loose on him. Like it's dropping water out of it, if nothing else. See the
Looks
flames
like
up
the flames,
under.
and it's probably oil now.
Go back and see if we can find out. See a little fire under there. Scott trying to get that car back to the garage.
Oh, he just got run over by Tony Stewart.
Oh, my goodness.
Like we said, it's time to go.
It's time to go. I don't care if they're stopping for this corner. Let's push you on
What
through
do you
there.
think we'll see on the onboard?
Contact.
We're going to see Tony's HUD bow right about now.
They did jam up in front of Stewart.
They did jam up.
Yeah.
They did. That is not Tony's fault. That's
Keep
not
digging.
Tony's
You're
fault. He's
clear
right.
all around. Looked like up there around where Jeff Burton was, they were jammed up.
They're back 2.
Oh, and then they went to dodge the wreck. That's why the 11, when they jammed up, somebody went to get away from the wreck and got into the 11 car.
Now this puts us in the same situation as last week with a green-white-checkered finish.
But we've had so many cautions in this last segment of the race that they, you know, when we looked at it, we said, okay, they could make it all to the end. And then I think some of them were pretty comfortable. But this is ugly right here, all this stuff they're putting on the racetrack, too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they're going to ride around a few laps.
That's right.
So they're adding laps to what the caution is going to be right now. You know, if it was just a spin and let's go again, then you could be correct, man. This could be
5th green-white-checkered of the season. We saw Earnhardt limping around under the caution last week. If the race reaches its scheduled conclusion under caution, NASCAR will make one attempt at a green flag lap, white flag lap, then the checkered flag. If something happens after the race has been restarted, the race is over, NASCAR will use scoring loops and videotape to determine the results. They have stopped the field, obviously. Let's check with Marty.
Hanging out with Steve Letarte, the man who's probably more mentally taxed than anyone here at the Infineon Raceway. Let's first of all deal with the fuel. You okay with the green-white-checkered?
I think we're better than the two in front of us. I think we're okay. Yeah, we got a couple laps in us.
A lot of nail biting going on down here, as you would imagine. Let's talk about how you've rallied this car today. At one stop, you took out 4 pounds of air. You've made track bar adjustments, wedge adjustments, spring rubbers out. How did you get this car back competitive?
Jeff Gordon, you know, he's fabulous out here. We didn't give him a very good car. We were good in practice, but obviously we've missed it for the cooler weather. We're real tight getting in, which makes it real loose off. But, you know, he's smarter than the rest of them. He's staying on track. I don't think we've passed very many out there, but we haven't made any mistakes. You know, that's a 4-time champion and a 5-time winner of this race, you know, showing how strong he is.
Can he get around those two in front of him?
I don't know if we have enough to pass the 18, but we have enough to be with him, and everybody's got to have enough fuel to make it. And we just saw 3 take themselves out, so I think David Gillen wants to win his first race, and we'll be there to capitalize if he tries something.
And Jeff came on the radio and said, I was impressed with that 38. Gilliland's done a nice job. Let's go to Lindsay.
Thanks, Marty. Here with Steve Addington, crew chief for Kyle Busch. You guys aren't feeling any pressure right now, are you?
We've been under pressure all weekend. These guys on this M&M's team have stepped up. We unloaded. We weren't very good, and they worked their tails off. And got us a good race car here today. See if we can finish it off.
Steve, I know you guys pitted last on lap 68. Do you have enough to carry him through, even if it does end in a green-white-checkered?
I think we're in pretty good shape. I don't see there being a problem. I think we can go a little bit further than what the race is going to go.
Steve Addington trying to get Kyle Busch his 5th win of the season. Matt Yoakum.
The 42, Juan Pablo Montoya, currently running in the 7th position. Impressive rebound by your man from the spin.
Yeah, he never gives up. You know, just gives 110% all day. Just unfortunate, we're in a spot we needed to be. Passed a lot of cars the first stint, pitted, caution come out, rode their second. You know, the 18 car was pretty strong, but you know, we're just cruising, saving gas, and got great gas mileage that second stint. And you know, Ambrose, don't know what happened, but one race wonder. It's unfortunate. You know, Marcus is a good race car driver, but to come in here one race and take you know, a points guy out is unfortunate. But yeah, he rebounded. I just got to thank these guys. They don't ever give up, and pit crew did an excellent job on the 2 stops we've ran, and strategy was perfect, and engineering. You know, the guy, my engineer here, did a great job figuring gas mileage. It was to the 100th on the first 2 stints, so just it's very unfortunate, but just got to thank everybody back at the shop.
As the restart with 6 to go proved anything can happen, is your car in good enough condition handling-wise for him to make a run at the 18?
You know, when we got spun there, he you know, to get up to the P11 there, you know, you use a lot of stuff up. So, no, I don't think so. I think you know, if anything else happens here, we might be able to get to 5. He seems to be blocking just a little bit, but other than that, you're not going to get him much further than that unless something else happens.
Thanks, Brian.
Thanks.
To Ralph.
Well, Gil Martin is a crew chief for Clint Boyer. Gil, your car has been getting better as the race has progressed. Is it strong enough now with just a couple of laps to get a win?
Well, I mean, everybody's going to stack up so hard right here. Our Jack Daniels Chevrolet has come from the back twice today. So, I mean, it has run good. But, I mean, right here, what you're going to be concentrating on is people trying to dive up under you. Brakes are getting hot now. Everybody's wearing out. So, just hoping nobody gets under us, loses their brakes, knocks us out, because that's what you're going to be looking for late in the race right now. Guys are going to be driving way over their head.
At this stage of the race, then, do you have to worry about being more defensive, or do you go on the offensive to try to gain spots?
Well, I think that you still have to be on the offense trying to gain spots, but you've just got to be careful to hold the line. Earlier in the race, you might have swung wide, getting into some corners, trying to set up a position, but right now you're going to need to get in the corner and take up all the track you can, but still pressure the guy in front of you.
And Lindsay, making things a little bit tougher for Clint Boyer, too, is they made him shut off the air conditioning fans. He's going to get a little hot in there.
Man, Ralph, I can only imagine, and I'm sitting here with Kelly Barraclough, David Gilliland's crew chief. Do you guys have enough there in the tank to keep it going?
Yeah, we're good on fuel, good to go. The freecreditreport.com car with David driving, everybody, the whole team's done a great job. We're pretty excited about where we're at. We just want to finish it out and see what we can do.
As a crew chief, what are your emotions right now, knowing that David has a chance to get his best finish of the season?
I've seen David do this before, so he's a very good road course racer. Everybody can see that now. So I'm just going to sit back like everybody else and watch it.
All right. No doubt that there's a lot of pressure down here, though, Marty.
No pressure down here for Elliott Sadler's team. Rodney Childers looking on. Now, you guys have an excellent car today. Very few changes. Is it possible for him to get by the 3 in front of him?
I don't know. I think we've got a really strong car. The car's been good all weekend long. You know, we really haven't hardly changed anything since we unloaded off the truck on Friday. You know, thought we had a shot at the pole Friday, barely missed that, and car's been good all day, getting good fuel mileage, and feel pretty good about it. You know, I don't know if these guys in front of us can make it or not, but we're in pretty good shape.
Where do you stand on fuel? Are you worried about a green-white-checkered?
I don't think so. I think we're in pretty good shape. The engine shop did an excellent job this weekend and got us pretty good mileage and should be good.
For this race team, this is a much needed, if it works out, top 5, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, this race team has done just a great job the past 2 months. I mean, we've qualified in the top 10 almost every week, had a shot at the pole almost every week, and just had really good cars and got in bad spots, got in wrecks and had problems here and there. But everybody's done a really good job, and if we can pull this top 5 off, it'll be good for us.
We've talked about Elliott needing just a little bit of racing luck. Looks like it's come to him today, Larry Mack.
Yeah, I'm up here with Larry, Marty, Mark Fine, and Larry McReynolds up here on our set high above pit row here. And Larry, you know, for a while there, things were stretching out. And then 3 cautions in the last 8 laps. We had Kyle Busch, who started 30th. We had Jeff Gordon, whose car was not very good all day. We got Gilliland, who has not been real competitive all season long. Now all of a sudden, these are the guys fighting for the win.
But yeah, we only had 3 cautions in the first 80 laps. And then here's what happened. The crew chief of the spotter keyed the radio and said, there's about 10 laps to go. You need to go. And that's what's happened here in about the last 7 or 8 laps. But yeah, when we look at so many of our guys that are running in the top 5, 6, or 7 right now, it's guys that started near the rear of the field. And I go back to what we were talking about a while ago. I think the key was so many of these cars pitted before that first caution, and that got them the track position that they needed, especially like David Gilliland. Now, Cully Barraclaw, he better hope this thing doesn't go a long way because he's got the least amount of fuel of anybody. He was looking to try to run 44 laps, so he needs this thing to get restarted and not go too far into overtime.
Here's my question for you, is what has happened this year because of what happened last year? In other words, we only had one time last year when a car outside of the top 13 won this race. What did all these teams learn something last year and that made the difference, or is it just a fluke?
Yeah, they learned they needed to work on fuel mileage. Mark, it's amazing what I have seen and learned in that garage area over the last 2 days. What teams have worked on to be able to run as many laps as they possibly could on fuel. One team told me they had spent almost $250,000 just working on better fuel mileage for this race. And what we're starting to see, you know, last year 42 laps was a stretch. Now we're sitting there with Cully Barraclaw says 44 laps, no problem. We're going to have an extra to spare. I just think the fact of knowing how to run this race and gaining fuel mileage is what has made a difference.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. It's been wild. 3 cautions in the last 8 laps, as Larry Mack said. Kyle Busch in the lead, but the cars are stopped. We'll wait for him to get back going. Keep it here. Should be a wild finish.
Just some of the many wild moments that we expected to see this afternoon here at Infineon Raceway in Sonoma, California. Under the red flag with 4 laps to go. After what was a fairly caution-free event. But the closer you get to the finish, the more fun you have. There you see Kevin Harvick in that 29 car involved in that caution. Here's Tony going around. And the field going by. But they have worked on that 29 car. Kevin is on the track. He is currently scored in the 31st spot. By him coming back out and picking up a position, he has bumped Matt Kenseth out of the top 12 in points. Harvick currently 12th in the championship standings, but Matt in the 17 car is just 3 points behind.
But just like we said, those guys have to come in and get their stuff together. Tony's out there, even though he spun, he's racing for 3 points.
Right.
3 points, because that's 3 points outside. So if you get to the last race, you get to that Richmond, they're going to be interviewing you in the garage area because you're 3 points out, not over on the stage where the guys are headed to the chase.
And it may not be you know, the points at Richmond that night. It's the points you lost here or Pocono or...
It never is. People make such a big deal out of going to Richmond. It's like, oh, man, you just barely missed it. If you'd have had a better Richmond. No. If I'd have had 2 places better at Darlington or 1 place better at Charlotte or 2 places better here, it adds up. And that's what points are all about. You know, you can't blame it on one guy. You know, it's always amazing to me. You miss a race and somebody says, well, that guy bumped you out. No, it wasn't. It was those other 43 guys that were faster than me. They bumped me out. I mean, it wasn't the last guy that went that bumped me out. It was the other guys. We just weren't prepared. And I think that's the big deal. These guys, you know, they're trying to get as much as they can everywhere you go.
See the field starting to roll. Coming up next on TNT, as soon as we're done here, the longest yard on the East Coast. And out here, Spider-Man. That's next on TNT after the Toyota Save Mart 350. And you'll want to stick around for these last few laps. NASCAR making one attempt at a green-white-checkered. Again, if the caution comes out after we restart, the race is over. And NASCAR will use the scoring loops around the track and videotape to sort out the finish order.
And you know, I'm gonna be this is a beautiful place from the air when you look at it. And I've said this 10 million times before. I hate red flags. I hate for a race to go and then stop. But this makes the race better for the fans.
Exactly
for the people sitting at home, for the people sitting in the grandstands here. Not necessarily for the teams. You know, as we interview teams, you talk about strategy, you talk about things like that. You don't like to see them stop. You like to see your driver stay in that rhythm of downshifting and grabbing gears and doing the things he's doing here. But for the fans, and that's what this is. These races are all about the fans. We look at it as a sport, but it's entertainment.
But the thing about it is, and why they went the red flag, Pruitt dumped all that oil down.
Tons of oil.
And usually, if you stay under green, it takes 3 or 4, or maybe even more laps to get all that speedy dry off. And I think what they wanted to do is get the speedy dry off as quick as they could. And these next couple laps, normally when we're out there, we don't want to get in the speedy dry.
No.
We want somebody else to clean it.
No.
But all these guys are going to be trying to clean it off, because even if NASCAR cleans it off, it's still there. But you know, you can't run on it when it's laying on the racetrack. So they did a good job blowing it off and trying to get as much off and the track dry as possible.
If they had made the drivers ride around and clean the racetrack,
we'd still be waiting.
2/3 of them would run out of gas. So that would totally change the complexion of the race.
Field is moving through turns 11 and 12. They will go across the start-finish line, and they will get the green flag next time by. Again, it'll be a green-white-checkered finish, our 5th of the season. Kyle Busch is the race leader. He started 30th. He has led 73 of the 108 laps so far. David Gilliland looking for his first Sprint Cup Series win. Started 31st, he runs 2nd. Then Jeff Gordon is 3rd, Elliott Sadler 4th, Clint Boyer 5th. Check with Marty.
Guys, I don't know if we can see the right front of Elliott Sadler's tire. It's behind the wall there, but he said it's going flat. He had someone pull up beside him. He thinks it's going flat. And actually, it's the right rear tire that's going flat. That's what it looks like on from our view. The right rear going flat.
Definitely.
And Elliott, poor guy. All he wants is his first top 5 of the year. He said he's going to try in this restart just to see how it goes, but it's going to be tough to hang up there.
No. Let me tell you, buddy, it's going to be more than tough. It's going to be impossible, especially if you're in the tire barrier.
Let me tell you something. That's exactly right. When he gets on the gas back here, he's going to be lucky to get it going straight. Yeah. Okay. Then when he gets down here to turn 1, it's not going to turn. It's just going to turn around, because on that right rear. Yeah, when he loads that right rear, it's going to be ugly.
Right behind him is Clint Boyer, who is looking to end a streak of 4 finishes of 25th or worse.
Then Clint better give that 19 plenty of room.
I'd be pulling up there going, hey, you got a flat.
You got a flat. Give me some room. Tell me which way you're going to spin so I know which way to go.
Well, if he makes it past the start finish line, I guarantee you he's going to spin to the right on the first left-hander.
But you feel sorry for Elliott, because I said it, and I was corrected by Marty. I will say this: he's had some great runs out here. I just personally don't think of Elliott Sadler as one of the better road racers. He's not a guy that pops to mind when you say road racing. But obviously, he's had some great runs out here in the past, and you hate to see anybody's run in because of something like this.
And when you put a guy like Elliott Sadler in a good road racing car, you see what kind of road racer he is. I mean, that team's got really good cars right now.
Jeff Gordon in the 3rd position.
Best team right here, buddy. Coming to the green-white-checker coming up.
Oh man, this is gonna be ugly right here.
Jeff Gordon in that 24 car was 23rd on lap 47. Right now he's 3rd.
Okay, if I was Boyer, I'd be looking to get by him as quick as possible when that flag came out.
Sorry, Wally, coming to get the green. Marty?
Hey, real quick, bizarre point, but isn't the best thing for Elliott really to bring out the caution and kind of wreck his car, because then they can't restart the race? Only 1/10 at a green-white-checkered.
Marty, nobody thinks that way, dude.
It was just
Where did
brought
that
up on
come
the radio.
from?
That's what they're talking about on
nobody
the
thinks
radio.
that way.
You have to maintain your position, so it wouldn't be of any benefit to him.
That's what they're debating right now.
What, run in the wall and maintain your position?
They're
debating this.
They're debating whether to run into the wall and maintain their speed as they run
should be
into the
debating
wall.
whether to get you out of their pit right now.
Pace truck pulls off. Green-white-checkered, 1 attempt at it. If the caution comes out before the checkered, the race is over. Kyle Busch is the leader, then it's David Gittelin, Jeff Gordon, Elliott Sadler, Clint Boyer. Here we go. 2 laps to go now.
Elliott, hang on, brother.
Hang on, Elliott. Hang on, buddy.
Because you're about to get run over.
Hang on, man. He's doing a great job.
Yeah, I'm surprised he got that far without spinning.
You can't even convey to you guys sitting at home what he's doing right now.
He is, it's like walking on ice.
He is on the rim almost.
Tries to fall in behind Montoya.
Still lined up right side.
I know we're not at the front of the race, but I'm telling you something. This is incredible right here.
There you see the leaders. Kyle Busch.
Do the best you can here.
Oh, it's Kent's it down underneath Earnhardt.
Those are valuable points and positions right there.
Now this is where 19 is going to really struggle through the S's.
I need 2 back. Good shape right here, 1 back.
You see it kind of push out right there when it laid on that right rear.
Yeah, he's hanging.
If it stays together.
Meanwhile, David Gittelin trying to close in on Kyle Busch as they come to 11. There are the leaders. Kyle Busch, then Gittelin, then Gordon.
Oh, Gittelin went in there a little bit too hard. He slid the nose. That's going to cost him about 3 car lengths on Kyle Busch right there.
White flag, last lap.
At least 5.
Elliott Sadler has moved out of the racing line and cars are passing him. He's dropped to 14th.
You know, it made it a lap. When a tire's flat like that, it builds up so much heat in it. It just begins to come apart. And he's just got to, he's trying to just get as much as he can. But hats off to Elliott Sadler. But look at this car. This guy is not, he has not missed his mark all day long. Just like Marty and those guys spoke earlier. He has been right on message, right on spot. He's taken it easy this last couple of laps. You saw him. He really cut that corner tight just to get it in there and not wash out.
And the car's been consistent. The most consistent car out there all day.
And this is a strong comeback for this team. Kyle had 7 top 10s in a row, including 3 wins before finishing 43rd at Pocono and 13th at Michigan. A lot of talk that maybe this team had lost its edge. They had good strategy, a little luck, a solid driver, and a good run. 2 more turns for Kyle Busch. Through 11. Then a left-hander, 12.
You boys are number 1.
Checkered flag in the air for Kyle Busch. He wins at Sonoma.
A great run for David Gittelin.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Jeff.
Tony Stewart comes back to a 10th place finish.
He was 19th on lap 108. And I'm just checking here. Do you see Sadler 19th?
You knew it from the beginning, didn't you?
It finally went away on him then, because obviously he spun and backed it in the wall at some point in time here.
I believe that's right over
here to our left,
turn 1. Yes.
Where we thought it was, where I thought it was going to blow. I'll say where I thought it was going to blow on the restart.
I did too.
Right there. I thought when he really barreled it off around there.
And when you add up the points at the end of the season, keep in mind that he got 19, because he easily, with 35 cars on the lead lap, he easily could have been 30th or 35th.
He could have been 35th easily. He could have played it safe, come down pit road, and easily have done that.
9th career win for Kyle Busch. Here's Elliott Sadler.
Now remember, he's got a flat right rear right here.
Right side, still there, still there.
He was getting it all right now, though.
Coming to take the checkered right here. You heard it.
Yeah.
Sit.
All right, man. P19. P19.
They're telling him P19 as he's sliding backwards. As he's sliding backwards. That's all right, though, man. Great job by Elliott Sadler, man.
He'll be smiling when he thinks about it tomorrow, but he's disappointed now. Down to Lindsey Czarniak.
Thanks, Bill. Steve Addington is certainly smiling here, crew chief for Kyle Busch. Steve, you said it yourself. What a rebound from a bad Friday that you guys started this weekend. How good is this win for you guys?
Oh, it's awesome. It's super big for this race team. I mean, it just builds confidence in that driver right there to believe in this race team can take when we start a bad weekend. We can pull through, work together, and take our information and apply it to the race car, and it works.
All right, Steve Addington and Kyle Busch rolling to their 5th win of the season. Bill?
And his first career road course win in his 7th start. 11 NASCAR wins for him in 2008, 5 in the Cup Series, 4 in the Nationwide Series, and 2 in the trucks. 6th win for Toyota in 2008, 6th win for Joe Gibbs Racing, and the 3rd win for Joe Gibbs Racing here at Sonoma.
Those are very tight donuts, Kyle.
That's very pretty. That's very pretty. That's a nice burnout, man. He was coming down the front stretch, had the front tires locked, and it was still pushing it.
What do you hear?
You hear cheering for
Kyle Busch.
Kyle Busch. That's a great shot, man. Look at him.
Unofficially, 103 points now ahead of 2nd place Jeff Burton. 152 back to Junior. Carl Edwards would be 4th, and Jimmy Johnson 5th, unofficially in the points.
That's impressive. We talk about this, you know, and we saw the clip earlier in the broadcast of Dale Earnhardt Sr. winning a race here. and a guy that wins at Daytona, a guy that wins at Talladega, or a guy that wins at Charlotte and places like that, to add this to your resume and to say you're such a well-rounded driver that you can win on any Cup track there is, it's important to get a road course win.
Well, there are going to be a lot of people that point to Pocono as saying, well, you know, he tried to do the 3 races in 3 different places in 3 different days. They finished 43rd that Sunday.
Don't tell him that, because what you're telling me is if he focuses, he can be that good. And if we don't want him focusing, okay? Let's have him going back to run trucks and the Busch stuff. You know what I mean?
I don't think so.
I think that's over. Yeah, that's over with.
No chance.
Take a look at the unofficial race results from here in Sonoma. Kyle Busch coming from 30th to 1st. Last pitted on lap 69 and got the victory.
Where did Montoya start last year?
32nd.
32nd. So this is didn't break that record.
But it's
Sorry,
only
Kyle.
but it's only the second time.
But it's happened 2 years in a row.
Right, that's right.
But it showed that strategy came into play, and then all of a sudden they go to race, and the fastest car wins.
Started 31st and wound up 2nd.
How about Boyer and those boys?
How about Casey Mears?
Yep.
I mean, you know, here's a guy that's told you might need to start looking, and Juan comes back after that struggle comes back. Matt Kenseth back in 8th.
So maybe he shouldn't have taken the top 10. The 10th place finish we offered Kenseth.
Yeah, obviously I was wrong. How about my man Terry Labonte there with a 19th? Thank you, Terry Labonte.
Michael McDowell, 21st.
David Reagan, that 23rd here is important for that team, because that team, he has been so good so many places to struggle here. Eric Amarola, 28. Guys we didn't mention all day long that were here for the first time. That's pretty cool.
And you got guys like Ron Fellows and Kevin Harvick who are running up there in the top 6 or 7.
Max Pappas in that 66 car, they are 36th in owner points, 20 out of the top 35.
And all these guys had mechanical issues.
Kyle Busch celebrating here in Sonoma. A little sparkling wine in his future. What a year he's having. Let's go to victory lane with Ralph Shaheen.
Well, here comes Kyle Busch out of the car. The left rear tire is absolutely disintegrated. He wore that out in the victory burnouts. Here comes a big celebration. All right, Kyle Busch, congratulations on your first road course win. Last year you were 8th here. Today you're the guy. A lot of people were saying that maybe running around doing all those other races was taking some of your focus off. This is the first week you didn't do that. Was your focus back, or are we just not talking about the right thing?
I don't think you're talking about the right thing. You know, what we need to be talking about is all these boys that worked so hard. We unloaded here and we were absolutely junk. You know, it was just a bad feeling, and these guys work so hard. I got to thank AP Brakes. They came over, helped us out an awful lot, and Mac Tools for everything they've done for us, and M&M, Snickers, Interstate Batteries, Norm. Hey, Norm. And it's just phenomenal that we're able to be here in Victory Lane. I mean, never on a road course has it happened for me before in the Cup Series, so this is definitely really, really special. And I couldn't stop celebrating, man. I just disintegrated this thing, but got to thank Mark back at the engine shop, everybody, chassis shop, and all those guys. I mean, we came a long ways with this thing, and that's what makes me so proud about this team and everything that we've done here this weekend is we came so far, and that's pretty cool.
Whatever the cause might have been, you had to have been getting concerned about the loss of momentum in recent weeks, were you?
Not really. I mean, it was sort of frustrating, you know. I mean, I made a mistake at Pocono, and then, you know, last weekend we were running 4th, 5th, 6th all day, and we're running fine, you know, and then got snickered on the guy staying out. You know, we had to pit, so we lost our track position there, fell behind, but here we are back again this weekend here at Infineon, and feels so great. Thanks to Toyota. I know their associates are all here and proud, and glad we were able to put a Toyota in Victory Lane here today.
Lindsey, he's going to need a new left side rear tire, but the momentum is definitely back with the 18.
Ralph, talk about momentum. How about David Gill? And he just looked at me and said, yeah, I told you we were good. That's what you told me after final practice. How great is this for you to get that second place finish, the best of your career?
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, it means a lot to me, you know, for my career, but Yates Racing too, man. I'm so proud of Yates Racing, what we've been able to do in a year, you know what I mean, or half a year actually, from where we were last year to now. It's just, it's incredible. So I'm real proud of the team. FreeCreditReport.com stuck behind us, you know, with my Bush deal last year, and stepped up and sponsored our deal to help us get through here. So it's been awesome, you know. It just all the support from everybody. Ford, drive one. You got to tell everybody out there to go and drive a Ford. It was awesome. It was awesome for me today. It's incredible, man. I'm so happy. This track, we've had so much success here as a family. My dad's won races here. I won the West race last year, and I've won the Southwest Tour race, but this tops them all right here. So we're close. That's, like you said, my career best finish. I'm just so happy and proud of all the guys. Coley Barraclaw, my crew chief, and just everybody, man, that's stuck behind me up until at this point.
David Gilliland, proud of that second place finish here at Infineon. Marty?
Tony Stewart standing here talking to the media. We'll get a quick word with him. Tony. Yeah, okay, good. What happened in the spin with Harvick?
I don't know. I haven't seen it, so you know, it's not fair to comment on it until I see what happened for sure.
Yeah, but that's the second time this year. Does that concern you at all? It didn't look like it was intentional.
Marty, I said, just in case you didn't catch it the first time, I said I didn't see it. So, you know, you can say it's the second time, but you're not in the cars and you don't know what you're talking about. So,
at the end, you guys have made a terrific comeback in the last few laps. How were you able to gain 9 spots in a couple of laps?
Just go anywhere that they weren't. So, you know, that's the easiest way to pass cars. Just go somewhere on the racetrack where they're not.
Had a terrific car today, Tony Stewart. A little frustrated, but they were able to make a nice rally there in the last few laps. Bill?
All right, Marty, thanks a lot. Good job down in there. Yates Racing, best finish since Dale Jarrett won at Talladega in October of 2005. Casey Mears, best finish of 2008. Show you the championship standings. Kevin Harvick out of the top 12. Matt Kenseth in. Unofficially, Harvick 2 points behind 12th place Matt Kenseth. 103 points from Kyle Busch to Jeff Burton. Okay, let's check back with Lindsey.
Down here with Jeff Gordon, who has a 3rd place finish.
I appreciate it.
Jeff, who's catching words with Casey Mears over here. Jeff, tell me, how, after so much frustration that you had during this race, what are your emotions on getting a 3rd place finish?
Well, I'm excited. I mean, I think it shows what kind of race team that we have, you know, to never give up and fight. We like this place, you know, we run good here, but we weren't bad at the end, to be honest. We just really missed it at the beginning. I don't know if it's air pressures or what it was, but just lost all the grip, and I couldn't drive it. You know, I thought I was going to wreck. I thought I wore the tires out, but then when we came in, they said, no, the wear's good. So Steve Letarte made some great, you know, adjustments, and he made a great call, get me on pit road, you know, right as the caution was coming out, and that gained us a bunch of spots, and then we got the car pretty good and drove up through there, but we had nothing for those guys up front.
Jeff Gordon gets a 3rd place finish at a track where he's won 5 times before. Bill?
Thanks, Lindsey. It was fun, you guys. Enjoyed it.
It was
See
fun.
you in New Hampshire, right?
Good race.
Next Sunday, NASCAR on TNT heads to Loudon, New Hampshire. Coverage begins at 12:30 p.m. Eastern with NASCAR on TNT Live, presented by Castrol GTX. That's followed by the All-State Countdown to Green, starring Wally Dallenbach, and then Sprint Cup racing from Loudon. That's next Sunday on TNT. Coming up next on TNT, in the East, The Longest Yard, and in the West, Spider-Man. For more post-race coverage from here in Sonoma, go to NASCAR.com right now, and we'll be over there in just a matter of seconds for the Jack Daniels post-race show. You got something to add here, WD?
I'm just going to hope somebody sent an ambulance down to Marty.
Congratulations to Kyle Busch. He is the race winner here in Sonoma. We will see you next Sunday from the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Thanks for having us in for the race. So long from California.